Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 25th episode of the Neon Crew podcast. My name is Lyle.
And I'm having a quarter-life crisis.
Hey, how you doing? Quarter pounder.
Yeah.
Throwback to our last episode.
Man, if that became my nickname, I'd be all right with that.
Oh, okay.
The Milkman and quarter pounder.
Yeah. So,
not very flattering, but it's acceptable.
where did the nickname the Milkman came from? Because it's in the description of your bio on our website. You list yourself as McClain the Milkman Parker.
Our MySpace link is still set up.
Yeah, basically.
No, so when I was in high school, we were going back in this car ride, and it was me, my dad, and my brother, and my brother started kind of talking about being on the football team. And he was at Mona Shores, I was at Muskegon, and being on the football team and kind of going through, it wasn't hazing, just kind of like, what goes on in a high school locker room, guys just making fun of each other, poking fun,
Yeah.
And I kind of started giving him shit. I was like, that doesn't happen on winning teams. You guys do blah, blah, blah. That's why, and he was like, oh, yeah? Like, what the fuck would you know? And I was like, well, I guess you're right. My friends call me like Captain Doughboy and the Milkman, and I said the Milkman because I'm the white dude on the football team.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
yeah, I was the whitest dude there. So as soon as I said it, like we busted out laughing. It was a really good laugh, really
Yeah.
hearty laugh. And then, so I kind of liked it. I was like, it's not that bad. And then they had this Versus documentary. So I've got 15 minutes of fame. I was on national television. I was like on a featured,
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the Versus. They did this like 9-week docu-series. Each week they did a large rivalry game in like the state of, like in different states. So
Yeah.
Massillon versus whoever in Ohio. And we got on there for Rockford versus Muskegon, and like at the time I didn't really think about it, but they really did like, the poor urban lifestyle versus the rich yuppies.
Yeah.
And I didn't really think about it. And then so they could have picked anyone, and I got on there because I was a third year guy, and I was really, everyone knew me at Muskegon, like,
Mm-hmm.
and I told them, I was like, yeah, they go, you got a nickname, don't you? I was like, yeah, I'm the Milkman because I'm the only white guy on the football team. But I started both ways, and I had some notoriety. And one of the guys, we scored a touchdown, and we ran this trap. So a trap is like where you pull, you cross over and you hit someone. Mm-hmm. Laid this kid out on national TV.
Oh,
completely
nice.
destroyed him. They like did the replay from all these different angles too.
I bet you felt so good about yourself.
I had no idea what was going on. Like
Oh.
it was just I loved that play because I got to no one knew what was coming, and I got to completely throw 280 pounds of anger into him, and I completely destroyed this kid. And it was just choo, and the kid, it was an 80-yard touchdown run. I mean, just right up the middle, boom, gone, touchdown. And the running back that scored it, they're like, "What do you got to do?" And he's like, "Well, I just get the ball and just follow the Milkman's booty to glory." And he said that on, that was kind of one of the funny lines.
We need to find this. Is this available anywhere? Like, is this
Yeah,
online?
my DVD collection.
Oh, really?
You want to?
I want to watch this.
We'll do one of the episodes. We'll do a
watch along.
Oh my God, that would be great. I know 3 people that are listening right now that would enjoy this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, one of them being our biggest fan.
Shout out to Sam.
Yeah. Even J Hall would probably enjoy it. I don't know if any one of my friends had really seen it. Versus lasted, I want to say 5 years. I don't even know if they're a thing still.
Where did it air originally? Like, was it?
It was on Versus. Like, it was on.
Okay. So Versus is the network.
They can't. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I thought the show was called Versus.
it was a network, and Versus was trying to do. I think they were trying to compete with ESPN a little bit with some low profile sport events.
Yeah.
Kind
of like the indie underground of sporting networks.
I think they had skating, and they had Pros vs. Joes. I think they were the one that aired Pro vs. Joes, which is you take Dennis Rodman, a Hall of Famer versus Gary from fucking Santa Clara.
Yeah.
And how good could he really be? How much better are pros than Joes? And so I don't know. I don't even know if Versus is a thing now, but their network came in. They did the whole production. They were there for 3 days, and they filmed everything. And I was one of the predominant storylines on the thing, and it was fun. It was funny. So the Milkman, it kind of started out low, and then the versus thing helped, and and then I had all that stuff because we did lose the game, unfortunately, which is the one thing that I always think about. But
the play was good.
Yeah, dude. I mean, and I killed it on that show, dude. I'm surprised I didn't get a call.
Should have.
Yeah.
But then again, maybe not, because otherwise we wouldn't have this podcast.
True. I could be like a fucking druggie right now, coked out somewhere, living off of like commercials.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think of it as me saving you.
I need a hero to save me.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah. So
I love Five Finger Death Punch.
No, that's Nickelback.
I know.
Oh.
I'm just saying how much I love Five Finger Death Punch.
Yeah, totally. Non-tangentially. Yeah. Yeah. So that's where the Milkman. How did we get on the Milkman?
I don't remember.
No, that's how it came about. So if anyone wants to know, I mean, and feel free to check it out. I got the DVD. I mean, it's nothing crazy. It's a fun watch, but it's kind of, you're watching high school football, and
I'm imagining it's in a DVD case that's blank, but it just says The Milkman in Sharpie on the front.
I think it literally says like number 77 versus Rockford or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I watched it probably 10 years ago. I wanted to throw it on. And I think I have it because I think some guys from Ferris State had like some guys from Rockford at the time, because it was a big deal for Rockford too. I mean, it's a national, like, you made it on to, it was 8:00 on a Thursday night.
You're getting some exposure. I'm sure some of the students and like the players were hoping to get like notoriety from it in some way.
It was fun. I mean, it was fun, and I had when everyone saw it, they really laughed, and that's kind of. I actually met the kid.
Kid that you obliterated,
totally destroyed. Felt so bad about it. Like, I was like, well, actually, we were at a parking lot, and they were like Muskegon versus Rockford in basketball, and we were walking away, and some Rockford guy started talking crap, and like all of a sudden it sounded like this big fight was about to break out, and I kind of walked out. I was like, hey, like, what's going on, guy? Like, hold on one second. Like, what are you guys complaining about? What are you guys complaining about? And then someone was like, hey, there's that guy. And then I was like, what? And then this other kid came up, and he was like, you beat my ass on that show. And I started laughing, and I was like, dude, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't, it's football.
Yeah. And
then we kind of all laughed, and then it turned into like, we did like a photo shoot of like him like beating my ass,
That's funny.
Yeah. I was like, whatever, let's just have fun with it. We don't have to sit here and hate each other.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a sport. It's a game.
Yeah. And nothing like, I don't get me wrong. I like talking shit as much as the next guy, but it's in a good fun and getting kind of people up to that point of wanting to throw fists. But like, when the eyes roll over, that's when I try to stop, because I'm like, this is not worth what we're all about to do.
Right.
So, yeah, that's how I got the Milkman. Ask away. And, shout out to Versus on Twitter if you're listening.
Speaking of Twitter's a pretty divisive place, I would say. And you know what else is divisive? This movie that we're about to talk about, Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh.
I almost said Thor Ragnarok. I keep wanting to call it Thor Ragnarok, even though I know it's...
It was just kind of weird, because like Ragnarok's a weirder word than Love and Thunder.
Right, yeah.
I know that there's one word versus 3 words. But
I just know that like Taika directed both, so I think the association with him being director of both movies is always in my head. So
yeah,
I just get the two like titles jumbled up. So I guess I can summate this one.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Knock it out.
We'll be talking about Speed later.
I'm not talking about the movie. Am I
right? Love going into town, even if it's only for an hour. That's a Wet Hot American Summer reference.
How much shit happens in 1 hour in that fucking scene?
One of the best scenes in the movie.
Oh, dude, they're all that movie. Out of, if there's 35 scenes, 30 of them are gold.
Oh yeah,
Anyways, that's
a lot of memorable moments. But, Thor: Love and Thunder. So this is the 4th entry in the Thor franchise, the 24th, 25th, 28th movie in the MCU, something like that.
I think it's into the 30s.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. And this one was also directed by Taika Waititi, who did Thor Ragnarok, and it follows Thor after the events of Avengers Endgame, and we see him partnering up with the Guardians of the Galaxy for a bit, but then he is called to a task to stop this figure called the God Butcher. And along the way, he reunites with Jane Foster from the first 2 Thor films, played by Natalie Portman. And from there, he, Valkyrie, Korg, and Natalie Portman all go on adventures, and hijinks ensue. And that's pretty much the gist of it.
Yeah, that it really is. I mean, they're out to make sure that the God Butcher doesn't open up the portal and grant his only wish that could destroy the universe again.
Christian Bale's trying to reach eternity and wish for all the gods to be killed, essentially, because that's his goal. He is called Gore the God Butcher.
Yeah.
So top level, I guess. What did you think of this film?
I liked it. I mean, I saw it. I went opening night, so this is a little while ago. Me and my roommate were like, hey, he goes, you want to check it out? I was like, I don't know. I don't like going to opening night stuff, and then there was like nothing to do. It's like either that or, play video games. I was like, let's go check it out, you know? And as much as I think I'd like the movie a little bit more, but I had a bunch of mouth breathers in my theater. People just laughing at anything.
Oh, so yeah, Marvel fanboys.
I couldn't tell you. There was the guy that stood up after, because I was like, who do I want to ram this pencil into their eye? Like, the guy stood up, and I was like, he looks like a guy that just came here to ruin everyone else's night.
Oh, was he just like laughing at everything, like overly obnoxious?
I couldn't tell if he was like daft or if he really thought it was like, if he was daft or if he was there like, hey, everyone here, I hate corporate America. I'm gonna make sure that everyone has their night ruined.
Oh yeah, he's just an asshole.
Couldn't tell. I couldn't tell you. I was like, that guy's either got to be fucking his IQ's below 90 or he hates everyone here.
Did he do that the whole time?
Whole time. Jesus. Every time the goats did their thing, he laughed, and he had this really cringy laugh.
That's a new sound clip I'm gonna use.
Oh my god, dude! It was so bad. It was that. And this
Jesus
other guy
Christ.
that went there was like the sometimes you bring in like the special needs, they can kind of get out, like I shouldn't say it like that, but they have someone that's with them, like a
caretaker.
Yeah, and there's like like 4 or 5 guys that are kind of special needs, but they're like they have an event, so the caretaker's like, hey, we're gonna put you in the in a car and we'll drive over, watch the movie, and there was another guy that was a group, and he was laughing at some weird parts too, and it was between the two of them. Laughing
that you were just not having it.
I just was like, it's not the first time the goats do the thing kind of funny. Second time maybe. After that, it's like I didn't like the goats at all.
It's the same joke each time.
Yeah,
screaming goats.
Like, yes. And I was like, oh, cool.
There's only so much variety in that kind of joke.
Variety? Are you kidding? The first time they hit you with it, it's like, well, they're not going to be screaming goats. And then they're screaming goats. Like, oh, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it's like, oh, they're going to drop it. So the next time you do it, you think it's done. And then they do it again. You're like, oh, man, wow. And then the third time is like, wow, they're just going to not let this go.
Yeah, no, they hammered it into the ground until it was a pancake.
Really just thought, like, this is going to kill.
And I feel like
Taiki, like that, he let them do that. I feel like that was the studio going, like, trust me.
Yeah, we need some Dinkelhoffs in this film.
The age groups 9 to 13 love this.
Yeah, even though it was a meme that was popular like 10 years ago or something. Like the screaming goats.
I guess. I mean,
because Taika Waititi, I read that he included those because of the meme of like the Taylor Swift song. The edit of the video.
Oh, I think
yeah.
It doesn't surprise me that he picks up on some pop culture stuff that maybe not too long ago.
Yeah, but it's not super relevant anymore. But then he just brought it back because he thought it was funny.
Yeah,
which I mean I get, but
it was of the time. I mean, there's times Speed 2 is gonna have a reference like that gets tied into the Big Lebowski. So, anyways,
so I feel like a lot of the humor in this film was a lot like what you're describing with the goats. It's just like a lot of like just kind of like throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks. Like there's a lot of humor in this film that he like tries to do that I really couldn't connect with like a lot of it. But I don't know, like Because it to me, it felt like, the scene in Thor Ragnarok where Loki, Thor, and Valkyrie and Bruce Banner are like all in the same room, and he's like telling the story about how when they were like children, Loki stabbed him and turned into a snake or something.
Yeah.
I guess that scene was improvised, and it's like one of the more like popular scenes in that movie. And so I think what happened was Taika Waititi saw that people liked that scene and said, I'm going to make an entire movie like this.
Let them improvise their chops.
Yeah, pretty much. And I definitely feel like that's what happened.
Well,
with like the humorous scenes in this movie.
I would say that Natalie Portman is not funny. I don't think she's ever been in anything that I would consider funny. And if I did, I don't remember her being in it.
She's much better as a serious actress.
Oh, yeah.
Like Black Swan, I watched that for the first time recently.
Mm-hmm.
She was fantastic in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
This movie, I mean, the novelty of Jane coming back after being in the first two Thor movies and not coming back at all, I felt like was like a good idea in like concept, but in terms of execution, I felt like her character was just kind of like thrown to the side for a lot of it. And then like when the important moments do happen between her and Thor, it doesn't really have that much impact, because it felt like every other instance in the movie, it just felt like her character was kind of sidelined in favor of like all the jokes and all the like humor.
I just don't think I think that they tried to help her out and she just doesn't have.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing that comes up is like when her tagline, she tried to make
the catchphrase?
Yeah.
I was about to bring that up.
She was trying to make that funny, and I'm like, boy, this isn't even like close.
No.
And it's not. And I bet you like you see that and it's like, hey, this is kind of like a comedy type movie and Jane's not really funny. Like, what do we do with her character?
Yeah. Well, like you can make characters that aren't funny. Like you can make their characters funny in the situation by like contrast with other characters. So like Jane's like she's more of like a serious character in the other two Thor movies. She's a scientist. She's very practical. She's somebody who like sees the science behind everything with all this like magic and godly stuff going on. And I feel like in this movie they just tried to make her too, I guess, not childlike, but just kind of whimsical in a way. Like, oh, because like as soon as she gets like the Thor abilities and stuff, she's like, oh, I need a new catchphrase. I'm thinking like hammer bash or something like that. Like it felt like they mentally de-aged her by like 30 years or something.
I couldn't really, I couldn't tell you what they were going for. I'm not going to lie. Like watching it, I kind of like their chemistry that they have, but it's still, dude, she just didn't look like she even wanted to be in it. I don't know. I mean, she's got a newfound way of life or look on life, probably still having to come to terms with death, I think, because she, very early on before they go, you kind of still see that without the powers, she's not getting better.
Yeah.
She literally needs to be having that thing by her or on her at all times, a hammer that is, so she's kind of conflicted maybe a little bit. So you get this person that is whimsical at the beginning because she thinks that she's healthy, and then it turns into, oh, I know what's going on. So now she's probably like in a little bit of peril or like, I don't want to say life crisis, but in her own head. Because I mean, it's always going to ring true. Like anytime you go and do something, like at any point, if this thing gets taken away, I'll die in the next like 3 days, you know? So we kind of stripped her. It aids to the growth of the character, knowing that that's where she's at and her acceptance of what her fate's going to become, is kind of like that, what we get to see as we go, as a audience, that her acceptance of life and, hopefully that she gets back with Thor, finds love for him, but I just don't think that there was really, it's hard to find comedy in that unless you've already kind of accepted your fate.
Yeah.
And there's black humor with it, but like she didn't do anything that was really like, like they could have had a scene where she like explains to Thor like what's going on and like drop the hammer and DH pick it up, age drop it, DH pick it up, and
they could have like went really dark with it.
And like you think this is hot, and then like there's one where she's almost like ghostly looking with like this saggy like all that, and Thor would be like whoa, and then he's kind of like, all right, do I really love her? Is it more for the aesthetics? Is it my material, like or is it our souls that are connected? They didn't do anything anything like that. Their relationship was just kind of all it. Our biggest sense of how much they loved each other was in that little montage they did, which I liked. But I don't know how long. I was actually thinking about like between Thor 2, and Ragnarok.
I was trying to think of like, where is this in the timeline?
Yeah, did they have enough time to do all these things?
Mm-hmm. My headcanon is that it's like right after Thor 2 or something, but there's so many movies and timelines, it's hard to keep track now.
Yeah.
I feel like this movie, this one specifically, like not even Thor Ragnarok, but this one was really heavily aimed towards like kids, like children. For like a lot of it, because you got the scene at the end where he gives the kids all powers like temporarily, and they all find weapons and they like fight against all the like shadow monsters.
Yeah,
and like it's like a PG-13 Disney Marvel movie, so they're not gonna show like any kids getting impaled or anything.
Yeah, that's
during the fight.
It was kind of funny too, because I had this thing where I was like, oh, yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if we're going to see Johnny over here take a freaking spear up his spleen.
No, because that those kids have MPAA plot armor, and they have to have them alive so that general audiences can still see it. So
plot armor.
Yeah.
Boy, where do I pick that up at Meyer?
You can't buy it. You have to have it bestowed upon you by Disney. So that scene felt really kiddish, because it's like the kids they all look like they're having fun, good for them. Yes. They're in a Thor movie and they're swinging stuff around and they're killing all these shadow monsters. But someone like me, I really don't like, it takes the tension away. It takes any sort of like weight that would be in there away. And then there's also like a few scenes just in general, like the scene with like the play with Matt Damon and Sam Neill.
Oh, wow. And then, you know what happened.
And then Melissa McCarthy came out, and I couldn't fucking believe it. I couldn't believe that they actually got her in that movie.
What? Yeah, the thing from Ragnarok, it was such a hit. That's why they threw it back in there, which I was pissed about. I'm like, come on, guys.
Well, I think that's what I'm saying with Taika Waititi, like getting the wrong sort of like, what's the word I'm looking for? He's taking the wrong thing away from the success of the Thor movie that he did, Thor Ragnarok, and he's implementing like all the wrong things in this movie, thinking that that's what people really loved about Ragnarok. It's like, oh, what do people remember about Ragnarok? Oh, the cool play that had Matt Damon in it, and then the improvised jokes that are throughout. And so he jam-packed it full of those types of jokes, and he really hammered home that sort of play scene, because not only do they show up in that scene and that lasts for like a couple minutes, they show back up and they're like, we should make a play about this event. It's like,
I'm not gonna lie though, I did kind of, if they had not had the play in there and then just that scene with those two guys that shown up, because you're gonna instantly recognize them from the first one. I don't think anyone would have been like, oh, who are those two? Well, probably. I take that back.
There'll be some people.
Oh, my God. Probably 50% of people that are like, there's a Thor 3? It's like, it's called Ragnarok. Like, a who?
There's a lot of people that, like, they watch Marvel movies, but there's some movies that they just don't know exists.
Don't care.
Yeah.
Just like, whatever. This looks kind of interesting. Let's go catch it, hon.
There's also, like, 30 movies out now, so.
I love this, kind of tangent, but, I love how, like, Marvel's timeline's pretty clean, crisp, like there's a lot going on, but it's not like I'm trying to think of like Star, I don't even know, because they're all pretty clean. Like it's hard to confuse movies, or if anything it would be like, where are they at in comparison? But you talk to like a parent whose kid's into this, and they'd be like, they're into the Marvel shit, like it's way too much, and it's like, not really. Like it's not hard.
It's not complex at all. Like
that's what I'm saying.
It's just a lot to keep up with if you fall behind.
But I'm like, but if you had to go like see like Thor: Love and Thunder, like you could watch easily any one of the, like you could probably catch up on all three if you wanted to.
Right.
So I'm not giving it's what it is. I just it's kind of I guess it's the purist in me. I
guess this is something that it's been talked about in terms of like movie culture for a while, but like superhero fatigue. I feel like for me personally, that's kind of starting to set in for these films, is the fact that like each one of these I watch, I feel like I'm not getting as much out of them as I did when I first watched them. You know, like it. Yeah, and I also don't think it. I also don't think it helps too that the first phase of Marvel movies, like after Avengers, the first one, they all had like a commonality in that everything was heading towards Thanos. You know, it was all leading to Thanos. With these new movies, I feel like each of them are just kind of like their own thing, which is fine, but they're all in the same universe, but it doesn't feel like anything's coalescing into a bigger conflict or a larger, greater story that has any purpose for like any of these films.
So my issue is if you're going to do it, so like with what you're saying, like phase 1, 2, 3, 4, it's all gearing up towards Thanos. Mm-hmm. And I think most of those films, the stake of our world was pretty much it. Mm-hmm. Like, and every one of them, even that, I mean, I'm just trying to think, like the Iron Man stuff, like, you know, if this gets into the wrong hand, it's not like they're going to take over the universe. It's just going to be, this is going to hit the black market and some other guys could get it and there's wars will break out. You know, some of them weren't even like that grandeur of, like Black Panther. Mm-hmm. The guy takes over Wakanda. You know, if he gets it, he might turn it into like an army and then they're going to go and try to. But I guess my point is the stakes weren't always as great as they are now. I mean, now we're talking about the God Butcher planting a seed, killing every god across every universe and destroying universe. Like we're just at that point. It's as large as you can get.
Yeah, and it can't possibly like really get any larger than that sort of thing. And I feel like when you take it away from like the focus of like, oh, there's a conflict on Earth versus like there's a conflict in the universe, then how much weight can you really have with a story like that?
That's what I agree. Mm-hmm. I think that they need to. Honestly, they need to get back to kind of bare bones, smaller, taking over, like not like a civilization getting destroyed, or like really not necessarily small stakes, but maybe stopping operations before something else hits. How about just bring back Doctor Strange and go over a couple of his scenarios when he said that 1 out of 14 million.
Yeah.
And put us into one of those worlds where we actually believe that this is another scenario in which we stop Thanos and they don't. Mm-hmm. Like, or bring something back. If you're going to continue these things, set up, instead of doing, the sequel to Ragnarok, have one where, in Black Panther, the guy does take over Wakanda. Mm-hmm. We see it where it's like, oh, shit. Yeah. Like he's dead or something, and now he's got to team back up. Like
maybe like higher production versions of the Marvel What If series on Disney+.
Not only that, but I mean anything. We all know that Thor will stop the God Butcher.
Oh yeah,
we all know that. Mm. There's nothing. It's like how does he at this point?
Yeah, and that's kind of how I'm feeling with these films. Is like I know they're gonna win. I know they're gonna prevail because it has to lead into like the next thing. So any tension that would have been there is just not there. So
and that's that tension that even in the first phases of before Thanos, there was always it's leading up to something though.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not done yet. Mm-hmm. With these, it's like, oh, the God Butcher got stopped. Great. Like, yeah. What's now it's Hercules next, and we pissed off Zeus. Like, I think they'll be fun still. I just don't know how much it's going to really... I went to this one. Honestly, I went to this one because I wanted a good laugh. And I was like, I really liked Ragnarok. I think he's going to have a lot of good quips and jokes. I like that it's kind of self-aware of itself.
I was looking forward to this one like pretty nicely, too. Like, Ragnarok is my favorite MCU film. Yeah. By far.
He's got a good sense of humor about it, and there's good tone.
Yeah.
This one's tone it was very zany. Now, I'm not going to lie. I like this film. I kind of sit here and bash it, but I could throw this on, and this is a very easy one to wash down, and I don't have that big a beef with characters. Even the only one I didn't really like was Jane, and I just thought she was stale as shit.
Yeah.
And
I feel like they didn't give her enough, and the stuff that they did give her was very cheesy.
Yes. That I can agree with. She wasn't funny, and I don't know if it's cheesy or if she just didn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like Chris Hemsworth gets some cheesy shit, but he's got enough charisma to make it funny.
You can tell that, yeah, he actually enjoys doing these Thor movies.
I would think so.
Really likes to put his all into that character because he's passionate about the character, and he likes doing these films genuinely. Yeah. So it helps elevate his sense of being there, you know, because you can tell like when people don't give a shit about
I was about to say, because I know another guy that didn't give a shit about a movie and really fucked it off. So
foreshadowing.
Hello. What do they eat? Was it zoinks, or what was that one phrase that everyone was saying?
What's Jinkies?
No.
Are we just quoting Scooby-Doo?
No. Bro, break out the memes, Scooby-Doo memes. Shit, I don't remember what it was called.
I'm not sure.
Anyways,
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we will, or we won't.
So there's kind of like a little bit of a controversy going on with this movie.
Yeah.
In terms of the special effects, because because there's a lot of moments in this movie where they're noticeably not great.
I've seen MCU. I mean, MCU's just been getting shit on left and right with their special effects now.
Yeah, and I think what didn't help was Taika Waititi and who's the actress that plays Valkyrie? Tessa Thompson.
Yes.
They did a video. It was like one of those GQ like question videos where it's like a white background and they're answering questions from people online. And they made it some kind of comment about the special effects in this Thor movie not being the best, and like they were kind of joking about it, haha.
Yeah.
But I guess people got upset because Marvel Studios, I guess, notoriously like overworks a lot of like their animation teams, and they're kind of like exploited because of like all the crunch time and all the hours they have to put in for all these movies. I mean, they come out with like 3 movies a year.
You're killing me.
I mean, basically,
you're killing me.
Like these animators are getting overworked and they're getting shit hours and they're not getting as much pay as they probably deserve.
He likes his hand grabbing this on this scene, and then in the next scene, I mean, it's not there, and I could just, I mean, what are we gonna do? We have to edit this every time he wants it edited. I do feel for him though. I mean, that's bad.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, the computer animators specifically, I feel like get shafted in terms of like the film industry, but yeah, I just wanted to gauge your thoughts on like what you thought of the visuals and like that sort of idea.
With like them just
with like I guess top level, like what did you think of the visuals in this movie?
Top level, what I thought about the visuals, fine. I don't know. I mean, you go to this place, dude. I can't. 20 years ago, if you were to tell me that they were coming out with Thor and he was going to take on the God Butcher on his own planet, and we were going to meet Zeus, and they were going to have screaming goats flying, I would be like, let me see the claymation, right? We've entered this realm where everything is so clean, and we expect fun. I'm like, it's 90% of the film's animated. Like, the very first thing is they're talking with some guys on this, where this glass, tower's been built. Like, I knock more animation when it's like green screen and then they overlay it with like a CGI effect, and you can obviously tell it's like a 2D image with a 3D image imprinted on it.
Yeah.
Like that's when it gets annoying for me. With this stuff, I mean, it's pretty clean for the most part. There are some probably times where it looks a little botchy. Like the floating head of Heimdall's son when he's talking to him. I was like, that looks janky as shit. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple times it's just, and I just don't knock it because I think it's a lot cleaner than in 10 years from now. I mean, dude, 20 years ago, episode 1 came out, Star Wars, or 23 years ago. I mean, we're not that far off from like that being revolutionary. And you're talking, that's within our lifetime that was like, fuck. And now we're to this where, Zeus is fighting Thor with a lightning bolt and you have every god that's known up there and they're all like, I don't know what you want me to. It's pretty clean for the most part. There are going to be times where it doesn't look good, and like I think that I would be more upset if I was finding out that MCU was more concerned about the bottom line, and they go, listen, we can save 10% of our budget on cutting animation, and that'll make us like an extra $6 million and we can sacrifice the quality of the film, that's when I would be like, dude, you guys better fucking knuck up.
Kind of like AMC and The Walking Dead.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, that happened when they got renewed for season 2. So season 1, they only had 6 episodes because they weren't sure how successful the show was going to be.
Rick Grimes?
Yeah. And so they gave Frank Darabont pretty much like the budget he wanted, and you can tell like the production quality of those episodes is pretty good.
To season 2?
But then season 2 came, and AMC was like, hey, we're only going to give you half the budget for each, like, you're only going to get a budget of like this much for each episode, which is not nearly as much as you got last time. And also maybe like there's literally a studio, like a note from a studio executive to Frank Darabont that says maybe the audience doesn't need to see the zombies, maybe they just need to hear them. And that's why season 2 of The Walking Dead is the way it is, where they're stuck on the farm and not much is going on.
Yeah. Oh, that makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah. So there's an example of a studio basically fucking over creative visions for the sake of like trying to save a few more pennies.
And that happens. That's what I'm like that. Mm-hmm. And I think MCU might be at that point where they're like, oh man, like we can come out and put our name onto anything, and they think that they'll be able to walk away. And, if there's anything that I ever hoped of DC, it would be to come in and rival some of this stuff, to force Marvel to get back on. Because listen, they're a monopoly right now in superheroes. There's no one that's competing with them.
No.
They can do whatever they want. Now,
as far as like mainstream big budget like superhero movies, yeah, they've got the market locked.
And this is, how much material source they have for this?
Oh, yeah.
It's endless.
They have like an endless supply of stories from comics that they could adapt into any movie that they want, pretty much.
Anything. Just pick a comic book. I mean, Doctor Strange has its own line of comic. I mean, how many comic books were written on Doctor Strange?
I mean, I couldn't tell you.
100,000? Like you can pick a timeline that you want and make 6 movies just out of that alone. I mean, the material source they have is unreal. Mm-hmm. And this is like, my biggest fear is that they get to a point where they say, we can cut the budget by 50%, we'll lose 20% of sales, but we net 30 on the bottom line.
Yeah.
And you're like, so as an audience member, I have to eat this now because you guys want to make more money. So you just make shittier films, and it's like, you're the only ones that do it, so I'm either forced to watch it or not watch it at all.
Yeah.
And there's enough people that we talked about that haven't seen Thor 1, 2, or 3 and just literally went to see Thor Love and Thunder because it's a new superhero movie.
Yeah.
And that's where it kind of pisses me off is like, oh, we don't even need to be loyal to the people watching this because we're still going to have people that come in because we're Marvel and Thor's coming back.
Yeah, people are going to go see it regardless because it's got the Marvel Studios logo slapped on it. It's people like Chris Hemsworth, people like Thor, people like the MCU. It's just a guarantee.
Christian Bale's in it. How can you go wrong? I mean, people that didn't even like... Think of how many people that didn't even like superhero movies that love Christian Bale and like, new movie, Bale's in it, got to check it out.
Oh, yeah.
Don't care. Like, I'm watching it because of him.
I'm wondering if also, too, going back to like the animation, I'm wondering if it's because they have so many projects that they're working on at the same time that if their resources are just stretched a little more thin than what they were when they first started out. Because now you've got like 3 movies a year, plus you've got all the stuff that they're making for Disney Plus. So it would be fair to assume that that might be the case, if not now, eventually.
I mean, it's and I don't disagree with that at all because the one thing I know is that the guys making like Waititi, right? I can't ever say
Taika Waititi.
Waititi.
Taika Waititi.
Good eye, mate.
Hi, mate.
I think that he's the one that loses out because they say this is what you're given, and then I think that Marvel, because they're under Disney's umbrella, is given their budget, and then they might go, listen, we want to do 1 series and 4 movies, and Disney goes, well, why don't you get to 5 and 2?
Yeah.
And then that's where they're like, shit. And then so it trickles down. So now they have to pump out 1 more film that maybe they are or aren't ready for. Because the other thing that happens too is all this is done on a budget and a forecast.
Yeah.
So like Morbius, when Morbius comes out, you're budgeting for X amount, but you're also forecasting sales, marketing, the sales department with merchandising, like all that shit plays into effect. And if you have to make 5 films, right, and one of them flops, I don't know how does that impact production for the fifth one if it's in pre-production at the time that Morbius is being released.
Well, here's a good example.
Yeah.
So Universal was, the Mummy movie that came out with Tom Cruise?
Who?
The Mummy movie.
Oh, yeah. Back when, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It was like a couple years ago.
We said we'd never talk about this again.
Well, we're talking about it.
Yeah.
So they had an entire plan, Universal did, for this thing that they called the Dark Universe.
I remember it was, they wanted to bring back all the Frankenstein, Dracula.
The
Mummy.
yeah.
They pull up
Jekyll and Hyde.
Pull up old patented ideas, right? Or copyrighted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they were thinking to themselves, like, we have all these properties. We don't know what to do with them. Let's just make a dark universe. That way we can capitalize on cinematic universes.
They probably were like, hey, we'll pair them all up after we release all 6 of these things.
Yeah, they were going to do the Marvel formula. And the first Mummy movie came out with Tom Cruise, and it fucking tanked.
Yeah.
And so after that movie failed, they just scrapped their entire, plans for the dark universe.
Yeah.
And
you could see how that would impact, that shut down a whole fucking timeline.
Exactly.
And then you're looking at Morbius right now, I wonder why the 5th movie that came out that year had shitty graphics and bad writing.
Yeah. So it goes to show that if you got one flop, it just kind of sours the entire endeavor. And plus it also helps too that Morbius is kind of separate in a way from the MCU. There's a little bit of relation there, but it's not directly related. I mean,
I'm just it's more so dealing with the money and the circulation of these guys with their budget and the revenue.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. It's tied in, not tied in. But I know that if Morbius flops and they miss out on that one, it's going to impact movies behind it. So
right,
as to go for the writers or the animators and and computer designers, that's just kind of shitty.
Yeah.
And maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know. And Tessa Thompson and YTT could be fucking nerds. Do your job.
Right.
Design shit.
And I haven't watched the video, so I can't say for certain whether or not that was actually the case of if they were making fun of them or poking fun.
I think if I had to guess, I'm thinking they're on along and Lou with me of being they just screaming goats into Zeus's homeland and Zeus's undressed Thor, and now they're fighting with a lightning bolt. Who the fuck cares about the graphics? I don't know what to I don't know how to make it any better. This is all have you seen that battle yet? I mean, in real time? You know what I'm saying?
True.
Saving Private Ryan, if I grabbed the World War II vet and it was not, they would be like, fuck, are you kidding me? That is not how that went.
I don't know. I think I've heard the opposite, actually.
What?
That veterans have seen that movie.
No.
And they get,
my point being is that they have seen it, so they could judge it. So when it was good, you had them going, because I was there. None of us have seen. It's all creative. So that's where I'm I think that they're the audience is gonna CGI. Come on, this isn't green screen. It's $100 million, and you got people working around the clock. You think those guys said that we're gonna do a shitty job? If anything, it could be maybe they're just they're fucking overworked and they're not paying attention to quality because
Yeah, they're trying to crunch it out.
Yeah, if I'm at 90 hours this week, I'm.
Yeah, I'm on my 5th bang today, and I haven't even started my shift yet. I only said bang because you have it right at the table right there.
Wow, that is not a drop.
Nope, we're not. We're not sponsored, sadly.
Not yet. Oh my god, maybe not ever. You'd have a rough time with Monster.
Oh yeah. Oh, me personally, just because of my. Oh, okay.
No, wasn't it those memes, the Kyle memes?
Yeah, don't look behind me. Don't look past me. There's 3 holes in the drywall.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there.
Oh my god, rivaling energy drinks. Boy, I would actually take that though. That talk about any pub is good pub. Mm-hmm. Our podcast getting into a gang war between Monster and Bang.
Yeah.
That's fucking energy drinks. It doesn't matter.
I'd be there for the conflict because I have no dog in the fight.
Yeah.
I haven't had an energy drink before.
As long as they take a sip and drop a Neon Crew reference, I'm cool.
Right, exactly. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about this, or we could probably wrap it up?
Probably. I don't really. It was good. This is a film I It's not like I'm not going to say I don't recommend seeing it. I just think that you could probably watch this at home. I really don't think this is one that you have to rush out to the theaters. And
I would agree.
There are some grandiose kind of images, but for the most part, it's a lot of slapstick humor. Mm-hmm. Chris Hemsworth knocks it out of the park. I really liked him in this. I mean, I giggled at a lot of his stuff. I don't know how many. There's probably a couple times I openly laughed out loud. I think the hardest I did laugh in this thing was when he told Jane, he goes, I want you to make me feel shitty.
Oh, yeah.
I really laughed at that. But, I mean, a lot of the jokes I didn't laugh at. And I don't think I laughed that hard in Ragnarok. I think it's a lot of the, I don't really have like a buckle over, laugh. But a lot of it, if it makes me giggle, I think that's good credit.
Yeah. I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
What would you rate it?
I think I gave this an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
And real quick, remember when we talked about our inverted like meter rating thing?
Yeah.
And I honestly think that that's just how I judge films, because Speed 2 really brought it to my attention.
Yeah.
All right. And so did this one, because I don't think on merit, I think the writing's like good, not great. The production's good, not great. A lot of the humor's good, not great. Acting's good, not great. For the most part, I could see a lot of people being like, this is like a 6 or 7 out of 10 because, they don't connect to the characters. They think everyone's two-dimensional and there's just not a lot of growth. But for me, the overall tone was good, very entertaining. I mean, it's a little stylized, but not bash you over the head.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I think of just, into my frame, if a movie can make me laugh, it goes by quick and, we're in and out and I enjoy myself and I'm not watching the clock, you're usually going to get like a pretty good rating. I go more off the entertainment value and how was I during the whole film? Was I thinking? Was it entertaining? And because there are good movies like Stalker, great. I mean, that's like a really fucking well written film, well shot. It's gorgeous.
Love
to take
that
your time. It wasn't nearly as entertaining as I wanted it to be. So that's why. So we're talking about that rating system. Then I was like, oh shit, that is my rating system. Like I will give bad movies good ratings if they're entertaining.
Yeah.
And they go by quick, and it's like, oh, God, they suck. So
there's a movie that came out recently that I wonder what your thoughts on it would be, because I'm very curious. Little foreshadowing for what's to come. So I guess I can go into mine. I think I gave this a 6 out of 10, but
that was going to be my guess.
I might change it to a 7.
Okay.
Because I didn't hate this film at all. Like I was entertained also.
Yeah.
And I can't say that I was bored. I was interested in where the characters were going and like what the overall goals of the narrative was, but in terms of like getting something out of it, I really didn't get too much.
Right.
Thor Ragnarok, I think it hit that sweet spot for me where it was like the humor connected, but also I really like the character. They made Thor like much better in comparison to like the first two Thor movies. I like the character of Hulk. Like Hulk is one of my favorite heroes. I love Loki. Like Tom Hiddleston as Loki in that movie, I think improved it a lot for me. And I think with this movie, I just didn't connect with the characters as much. I didn't get as much out of it. So
so that's your 6 to 7.
6 to 7. It might get bumped up to a 7.
Yeah.
If I give it some more time.
It could. Or it could consider a 6. I mean, honestly, I haven't. And I agree with you. I talked to someone about this film, and they said the same thing. They didn't get much out of it. And that's where, okay. I got, two things real quick after listening to you. And it's not like, it's just thoughts that,
Yeah.
Didn't get much out of it. 100% agreed. I didn't either. And it does set up the Hercules thing at the end of it with Zeus, right? That's what I'm talking about with Marvel, though. But don't put the stake of the universe on the line.
Yeah.
That is, if we're not going to get much out of it, and this isn't like a next step to the next big villain, like Rogue One is one that I think that was a fantastic film, and I don't know how they could do it again, but pick points that have already happened in the Marvel timeline and pull those stories out. So while
that'd be pretty interesting to see.
While Iron Man is, or who am I trying to think? Like the first Avengers movie when they all get together. What's Black Panther doing at that time? Or pick some, like, go into a Thanos story.
Yeah.
Why don't we see where Thanos is at with him getting his stuff? I mean, if we're not going to get to another giant supervillain, stop fucking saving the world. That's why Rogue One, and this is where I'm thinking about when I say like low stakes. That was the thing to get the blueprints from the Death Star, right?
Yeah.
That was it. That's all they did. Really clean A to B. We got a story, simple story, but it set up what happened with all of the Star Wars films.
Yeah. Like, not all of them need to have like these grandiose stakes. We can have like these personal stories that, you know, if people love the character and they're interested in like what happens between these times, then yeah, like you said, it'd be really interesting to see.
Not only that, I mean, in that one, there's enough of a, well, what if they don't get it? I mean, it's not like at no one point, I mean, I think that we see until the end of it with Vader, that we see that this is congruently going on with, you know, A New Hope. There isn't anything that would suggest that. So if they don't win, we still know that someone else does get the blueprints. So maybe that was this is how we break through the My point being is they can make it much simpler or lower the stakes and still have just as much of an effect, you know, with a storyline that could be going on to propel something that's already happened that we might have questions about.
Yeah.
And then the other one is Ragnarok. I just thought about it. You know what that is? You're Natalie Portman.
That's my Natalie Portman.
Thor 1 and 2 was Natalie Portman, and Ragnarok was the contrast to those two films. That's why it's so much more funny. It's literally the same guy, but it's contrasted against those two films, and you can see, it's like, you see how stale it is, and that was such a breath of fresh air.
Yeah,
you know,
I think a lot of it had to do with like the differentiation, you know, just like the different style and like just the, like you said, breath of fresh air that I got from it.
Yeah, and I think that's I mean,
and I didn't expect to like it as much as I did.
I don't think anyone did. I mean, they just YTT directed it, and I remember he directed it, and I was like, it's kind of supposed to be like a little bit. I don't even actually know what. I take that back because the marketing of it didn't suggest that he was going to be silly as shit. It didn't say that. It was just kind of badass Thor. So he could have been like an 80s bully Thor.
That, and I think people were really looking forward to like seeing the Hulk again after Ultron. You know, because he goes up into space and leaves, and you don't see him for a little while. So people were excited for that too.
So cool. Well, that's
Speaking of blasting off.
Whoa.
We watched Speed.
I love Karama.
The first one with Keanu Reeves, Sandra Bullock, and Dennis Hopper. So we don't have to talk about this film for too long.
No.
We can kind of just touch on it before the meat and potatoes of the talk.
Oh, I'm so pumped.
So
God, I'm juiced for this.
I can summarize this one too if you want to get the second one.
I want
to hear your description of the second movie. I've been looking forward to it. So this film came out in 1994, year I was born. Shout out. And this film stars Keanu Reeves as Jack Traven. Yep. And he is a SWAT agent. He's a police officer. He's a SWAT agent.
Special Weapons and Tactical Unit.
And the film follows him on his quest to put a stop to this terrorist played by Dennis Hopper, who has rigged a bus to activate when it goes over 50 miles an hour. And if the bus dips below 50 miles an hour, the bus explodes. And so Keanu Reeves finds himself in a nonstop action scenario where he has to try and figure out how to disarm this bomb on a moving bus in, you know, busy California highways, you know?
Yeah.
And
we got.
He's also got Sandra Bullock there, and you know, she's driving the bus, and they like kind of form a connection in the midst of the danger. But pretty much the movie is just nonstop action, and it is all the better for it, I will say.
100%.
I enjoy this movie a lot. This movie is like so much fun.
Yeah, it's
in terms of like when I think of Keanu Reeves movies, this is up there in terms of like the upper echelon of his filmography for me. You know, I've seen this movie before. This isn't my first time watching it, and I was kind of impressed with myself with how much I did remember from it, because there are a lot of memorable moments from this movie, like when they. Because it just goes from like one thing to another. It like kind of seamlessly like goes from like one sort of conflict to the next. Like, we have to like get these people off the bus. So then like they try to like get the bus driver off because he was shot. So then they do that, but then there's also like, oh, in 2 miles there's a gap in the road. He's like, there's a gap in the road, we gotta jump it, like all this shit is happening. And then like immediately after that, there's like they head to the airport and they like circle around and there's like all this stuff going on. Like I'm just impressed with like the set pieces and the action sequences and just the way that they filmed it. Like
it was insane.
I'm thoroughly impressed with like the action in this film.
Jan de Bont directed this and handed the script. Graham Yost wrote it and just said it's about a bus that can't go. At the time, it was 20 miles an hour. Can't slow down below 20 because I shortened. Jan de Bont read it and he goes, "Oh, well, let's make it 50 miles an hour." And it's like one of those things. I guess the way that he described it was kind of I can't remember the exact kind of avoiding when the plane, when the pilot of the plane gets knocked out and you got to take over the plane.
Oh yeah,
it's like one of those kind of
thrust into the circumstances.
Yeah. So that's how he saw it. But then he had the mixture of Die Hard in there because I guess at the time after Die Hard came out in '88, the commercial success it had. Every action film for the next 10 years was...
Oh, yeah.
Everyone wanted to be the next Die Hard.
You can tell that this film takes a lot from Die Hard.
Oh, dude. Because it's just... Let's just put him in a scenario. Mm-hmm. Let's just take the normal, and SWAT guy, and we'll put him, and we'll kind of have all these. Hey, they got to jump the bus. Hey, he's got like right when he gets in there, let's have a gangbanger on there that's like, no, I'm not gonna get off this thing. Like he's got to, he can't even tell the people. He just said he can't go below 50, and all of a sudden this guy's about to shoot up.
Yeah,
the
he's
place,
like pulling a gun out immediately. Yeah. There's already like 3 different sets of danger that's around him.
Let's say like, what if they can't be on the highway anymore? We got to get him going down, Sunset Boulevard. Like how cool would that be?
And this movie, like the backbone of it is the premise of it, is the idea of this bus that's going to explode if it goes below 50. And like the imaginative ways that would happen if that actually happened in real life. So
one of the, 100%. And I just, because as we go along, I read up a little bit about this, but you talk about like timing on this. So the I-105 or whatever they were on was shut down. Because they literally were doing construction on it, so that all that shit over there was digitally put in. But because they had just finished it as production was starting or going on, they said we'll keep it shut down until you guys are done with the film.
Oh yeah.
So they got to film. So like, there's a lot of cool shots with being. I love it because there's a lot of cool shots with them on the bus and they're talking between cars. I mean, and you could be going 20, 25 miles an hour. It's not like they're going 50, but it's still pretty cool to have those guys, you're sitting out there and it's not like they're on a phone, on the phone. Like they're literally screaming at each other as it's like, all right, Mac, what are we doing next? You got to get these choppers out of here, and it's pretty like that. That was really cool to have that, the jump. And then I guess the airport, that it was actually like one of the longer production shoots because anytime they had to test an engine, they had to stop production.
They had to pretty much vacate the premises.
Yeah, exactly.
I can imagine how that would have been a pain, but yeah, that makes sense.
And then so
I think this film is so much fun. Like I don't know how else to convey like how I feel about it. Like I think Keanu Reeves helps elevate it to another level, mostly because I enjoy him. I enjoy him as a person.
Jan de Bont had a great quote about him because they wanted to have a kind of like a muscular, like Arnold Schwarzenegger in the role. The studios did. Mm-hmm. Well, really, they didn't cast Keanu until 2 weeks before shooting. Mm-hmm. Like before it even started. Like him and Sandra hadn't even met. And Jan de Bont's quote was, "He's not of muscular stature to intimidate men. So when guys watch it, they aren't physically like intimidated by him or watching him already casting doubt in their head that he couldn't do this. Like Arnold, you'd be like, he fucked this up. Look at that.
Oh yeah, Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're already just because you see him and there's like that, like I don't know, green with jelly, And
I think that's what like part of why I really like this film is because like you can relate more to a character like that who's physique is not like the best. They're like kind of an average guy, but that they're physically fit because they're a police officer.
Yeah, he's on the SWAT team. And you can easily like
live more vicariously through that character and sort of put yourself in that situation and say like, what would I do? And I think that's like another big appeal of this film is that like there's all different types of people and sort of, I guess, facets of it where you can be like, oh, I would be this person in this scenario. I would be this person. I would be that person.
Yes.
You know, a lot of us would probably like to think that we're Jack Traven, but you know, even in essence, we're all probably the old lady on the bus who gets run over.
Maybe I'm thinking more of Stevens, Alan Stevens, or Alan. I can't think of it. It might have been Stevens in the movie, The Tourist.
No, the guy from Ferris Bueller.
Yes, we'd all be like doing that stuff. He had a great quip on the cops. Mm-hmm. No, so Sam, I watched this with Sam, and he made a great point that all of this was going on while Jack Traven was hungover.
Oh yeah,
like completely shit faced from the night before, 4 hours of sleep. Like, he was literally getting coffee and some carbs to soak up some of the alcohol and cure that, and had to go do this all fucked up.
Yeah. He just gets thrust into it. Like as soon as that bus explodes, the fucking movie goes and it just doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Like you get the opening scene, which is kind of like a taste of things to come with the elevator. And I think that works as like a good introduction to the villain. You know, you get to meet Dennis Hopper. You get to meet all these characters who deal with this sort of thing on a regular basis. And then you get a little bit of a reprieve, you know, meeting with the characters at the bar. You get to learn a little bit of who Jack is, who Harry is, who like the police commissioner is.
Yeah.
And you get a sense of like their relationship. It's pretty surface level. Not saying that they're diving too deep into it.
How can you though? I mean, they're getting drunk at a bar.
Exactly.
Like you're gonna get just a little bit of dialogue about, you know, we got fucking like,
yeah.
One of them's probably drinking because he's just happy to be alive. Another one's drinking because he's fucking like 4.
Yeah.
And it's like can't relate to anyone.
Jeff Daniels and Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
So then you get a little bit of taste of like who they are as people, and then you get thrust into like the big action set piece of this movie, which is the bus.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's pretty seamlessly done, and the pacing of this movie is like a dream. Like it goes by, and it just, I think, it is like really well paced.
So it's weird because on this viewing, I stepped out of the room a couple times, and I think it's just because I've seen this movie quite a bit.
Yeah, I've probably seen it a lot more than me.
Well, and yeah, I think because this is like I think one of the movies I might have went to like fell asleep to. Like those movies I've seen probably over 100 times because I'd get to a certain point and watch up. So watching this one, I think this movie in particular, movies of this element or whatever you want to say, kind of the very 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 simple plot. Yeah. You know, there's a bomb on the bus, you got to stop the bus.
Yep.
Like that's it, right? Movies like this, I think they're good for about up to like 6 viewings before it's just
the novelty kind of wears off.
Yeah, what else are we really pulling from it? Character develop isn't necessarily there. I mean, everything that you learn about them is going on.
There's not any character development really at all.
Yeah, at all. Like what growth does Jack go through?
I don't. Yeah.
We're not here to bash it. Okay, it's a good movie. I'm not going to sit here. And I read about one of the things is that he's driving next to the bus on that Jaguar, and I remember watching it. And the first couple of times you see it, it's like whatever, but they make that jump that a real person jumps onto the bus going maybe 30 miles an hour, and you see his feet hit the ground.
Yeah, and it's like dragging across the road.
It felt like 5 seconds. It all happens within a millisecond, but like.
That scene is one of the most like standout scenes to me. Is that jump from the car to the bus?
And the first time you see it, it's like whatever, but then you kind of it's like this was like a couple of years ago when I watched it, I was like, oh my god, like we could have. If he doesn't make that, it's not like they miss him. Yeah,
exactly.
Like, that's like, and maybe they do it quite a bit. I don't know, but like
they practice in a studio.
I mean, they probably. I've got no idea, but I remember watching that, and then you read up Jan. Which will tie into Speed 2. Jan is a big proponent of the actors themselves doing their own stunts. So Keanu did like 90% of the stunts in that film. Like they had him go under the bus.
This was at the time when he was trying to like prove himself as an action star and like kind of a serious actor,
Yeah, like that like the GOAT Tom Cruise.
Yeah, because he's had like the stigma still of like kind of the surfer bro, like Bill and Ted sort of character. I was just about to
say, hey, you got the weird accent, you were in Point Break saved him. Point Break's what kind of got him into that next, like, maybe he can hold this. Maybe he can be like a kind of funny, high surfer dude, but.
When did Point Break come out?
think 91 I
Okay.
saw.
Yep, 91.
Was it? Okay. Because I was about to say, from what I read, Point Break got him into this film because Jan was like, he killed it in Point Break. He was, whatever he was. I don't, and it's like, we got to get past the accent, because I could, like, studio heads are probably like, he talks like he's a fucking stoner and just smokes grass. Like, we can't have that.
Yeah.
We're going to lose on the demographics between 28 and 44.
You can't see it, audience, but Mac is shaking his head like a geriatric senile old person who's pissed off.
That's how I view them. Like, that's like, you literally... I really don't like movies, but my dad did all the black and whites, and now I'm here, and I'm just, I'll let them make the decisions.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's just whoever, whatever you want. I know that it grosses $140 million coming into my pocket when we release it once a year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who gives a shit about artistic integrity?
Yeah. And we're not having a stoner playing our film.
Yeah. No way, no how, no sir.
Like, dude, like, how do you say no to Keanu at that point too? Like, he does Point Break. He had like a river runs through. I mean, he's probably played a couple of very dramatic roles up to that point, and I don't know. I don't get it.
He works super well as an action star. Like, he puts his all into it. He does a lot of his own stunts. Like, he's passionate about making movies where he thrusts himself into it. You know? And I think that's why I personally admire him to the extent that I do. Hence the John Wick 3 poster.
Well, and your shirt.
And my shirt.
Yeah.
I'll include a picture, audience, but I'm wearing a shirt that is a 4-panel image of Keanu Reeves in 4 different films. Bill and Ted, Matrix, John Wick, and Constantine.
Yes.
So it's one of my favorite shirts. I don't wear it. I don't wear it a whole lot because it's one of my favorite shirts. Like, I want to keep it like fresh,
Yeah. Bust it out every once in a while. So when we talk Keanu movie, you get to throw it on.
Yeah. I think that'll be a tradition of mine.
Yeah.
Anytime a Keanu movie is brought up on the pod, I'll wear this.
I might have to assign, just keep throwing them at you.
I just wear this every day.
That are like not in the zeitgeist yet.
Oh yeah. The Lake House.
Yeah.
Have you looked up? I haven't watched the movie, but I've watched the scene where he sneezes
in the lake house.
Yeah,
I don't even know if I've seen that. He had a stretch. Is that in the early 2000s?
Yeah, early 2000s or late 90s.
I honestly don't know why he got banned from doing good films, but he had probably 8 to 12 year stretch of not doing any good films.
Yeah.
Like, really,
he was in a lot of shit.
Something's got to give. Mm-hmm. I don't know what. He pissed someone off really bad. I know that. Like, he did something because, like, The Matrix comes out in '99, right? Mm-hmm. And after that, nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. He had a stretch of just shit for a while.
Yeah.
I remember 47 Ronin. Fucking whatever.
I've not seen that. I just there's a movie that I just put on here today that I was like, I don't even know he was in this. That I think I'm gonna have to check out. No, but I'm trying to think what else. The one of the funny things that got brought up too is that this got released on June 11th or June 10th.
Okay.
1994. 4 days later, you know what happened?
What's that?
OJ, Ford Bronco.
Oh.
Keanu drove a Bronco.
Oh.
They went down the 105. Got chased. Had to shut down the 105. You know what? Shot helicopters. Sam brought this up, and I was like, yeah, all right, eat bricks, Sam. And then they did the helicopter scene of showing the bus with all the police cars around it, and guiding it. And I went like interactive, like, Dennis Hopper was like, hey, what can you say, Jack? Interactive news. And then they go back and they kind of look at the TV, and then they go into the TV with the helicopter shot of the bus going on. I was like, oh shit, that looks just like OJ.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, yeah. So a lot of people think that helped with the marketing of this film as it came out.
That's wild.
Is right, dude. I'm telling you, like, the timeliness of what happened to make all of this just, and how it fucks up Speed 2.
Which we'll get into.
Yeah. But like the timeliness of all this kind of as it segues into like making a $30 million budgeted film gross $150 million. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know how many guys went out and bought Coke as soon as they came out of the box office?
Yeah.
Like, insane. amount of money for this to happen. And I think a lot of it was just based on luck. That, and it did really well with the test audiences, that this thing, there's like no deleted scenes. Jan de Bont said because we were strapped for every penny,
they just threw everything in. Yeah.
He was like, there really isn't anything that I have that I took out that didn't make it in. We pretty much shot everything. And when they did this, it ends with them out of the airplane, and they storyboarded, like a digital storyboard of the subway scene. Test audiences loved it so much that they got rebudgeted or got more money added to be able to do the subway scene.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Like, this is one of the first films that I've really read about where it was like, we need more, you know?
Yeah.
You don't really see like, God, everyone they said that when they did this and they threw it up there, people were walking like, you know how they put it in front of the producers or all that stuff when they kind of get in Star Wars.
They did like the showing.
Yeah. They said that when they did that with everyone that was associated with all the bigwigs, people when they were walking out to go to the bathroom were walking out backwards because they didn't want to miss anything on the screen.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it's like one of those films where it's kind of, you don't miss much, but you might... You know, they go down there, all of a sudden they're crashing into cars. They get on the wrong way. They got to get back on here. And then they hit the baby carriage. Oh, no, the baby.
And then it's just a bunch of cans.
Yeah, but there's all these, like, little things sprinkled in that's why this movie with the tension going on never ends. Mm-hmm. So I think, you know, for the novelty of it or novelty of it is, if you see it only 3-4 times, every time if you give it 3 to 4 years, you will feel that angst. And there were scenes where I definitely felt angst, just like, and I've seen this a million times.
Yeah, exactly. There's always something that you can like kind of feel that sort of reaction for.
Yeah.
We can touch on a few things and then move into Speed 2.
Yes. Oh, God, I can't wait.
Yeah. I took a few notes of this film, the first one.
Okay.
Just some things that I wanted to like touch on. So I enjoyed the line, "How you feeling? Like I've been shot." I enjoyed that line quite a bit. I thought that was pretty funny.
Really on the nose, right?
Mm-hmm. There's like some technical stuff that I wrote down that was a little goofy. That I thought was kind of funny. Like there's a line where Dennis Hopper says, "I want you back real fast," and he's like on the screen, but you can tell that that's not what he said at all. He had to like redub it or something. He said like a different line. Like it doesn't even match up close to what he actually said.
Really?
In the scene, yeah. He's like holding the phone and he says, "I want you back real fast." It's when Jack like gets off the bus for a bit of time. You know?
Yeah, to talk to the cops.
Yeah. There was that. There's a shot. I think it's the moment where the bus is about to approach the gap, where the bus is going really fast and the guys on the bed of the truck bed that are riding next to it.
Yeah.
You can tell that scene is just sped up because the guys on the bed of the truck are like moving at like 2 times speed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're like moving back and forth like really, really quickly, like unnaturally quickly.
Well, because you got to know that that bus only got up to like 20, 30 miles an hour.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
They were not, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that a lot of the footage in the movie is just sped up. It's just that in that scene it was noticeable because there were people in the background.
That's funny though, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Oh, there was the whole notion of because they set up the trash can as like the meeting point or like the drop off point for like the money. Mm-hmm. And it's the scene that leads into like the subway scene. And so Dennis Hopper dresses as a cop and then he goes up to Sandra Bullock and he's like, "Oh, it's not safe for you to be here. Let's go somewhere else." They have like all these snipers and like all these eyes on the trash can, and then
none on Sandra Bullock.
There's a hole underneath the trash can that leads Jack into the subway tunnels where Sandra Bullock is. How did she get under there without anybody noticing?
Couldn't tell you.
Like
I didn't even know that. I don't know why that she was there. I didn't catch why she had to go.
Yeah. He just wanted a hostage, I guess, and he knew that Sandra Bullock was like the closest person to Keanu in that instance. But I was just wondering, like, how'd she get under the fucking trash can without anybody seeing? There's the line that Sandra Bullock has when it's like before they know that the bus is in any danger, and the guy from Ferris Bueller's talking to her. She's like, "Gum on my seat, gum. And
Yeah.
she like holds it out. I thought that line was a little janky and funny.
Well, that was improvised. She was,
really?
she pulled it out, and they said that wasn't even. She just wanted to get out of the conversation, so she improvised like, "I got gum on it." She pulled it out of her mouth and was like, "Gum."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then there's also the idea that the aftermath of the elevator scene, Dennis Hopper like air quotes blows himself up, even though we know he's alive.
Yeah.
What they didn't think to like look for like pieces of body parts or something. Like they didn't want to confirm that he was dead before.
There's a couple elements of this film where it's a little shoddy police work.
A little bit.
Yeah. He would have just disintegrated. I mean, this is in the 90s too, man. You know.
True.
I mean, you know, everyone thought that you could wrap a belt around your waist and lose weight.
Mm-hmm. The instance where the lady has the carriage with the cans, like the baby carriage, and gets hit, and then immediately after there's like a bunch of school children I thought that was a little cheesy.
That was. I did not like that. I just saw that to get them into the other lane, and I was like, come, like the cop. I had a problem with it because the cop cars immediately got up to him, and there's like, I don't know, 8 cop, like they're police bikes. You had the cop cars, and they're all in front of. I'm like, there's no way that school team. She should be fired.
Yeah. There's also, so Dennis Hopper and Sandra Bullock get on the subway, and it's a subway that's already running, right? It's already like making its route.
Yeah.
That subway, it's a one-way track, but that subway was heading towards a destination that was being under construction.
I guess.
Like it was just heading for something that was gonna like derail anyway.
Maybe that's why he picked that one, you know. I don't know.
So yeah, just some scene logistics, you know.
Yes,
that kind of got in my head.
That's a good one because I wrote that down in my notes for the next one.
Oh, I did too. And then of course, like finally, the infamous "Yeah, well, I'm taller" line that Keanu has when he decapitates Dennis Hopper at the end.
On the side, I don't remember.
Oh, it's when they're on top of the train. It's like the climax of the movie.
And he picks him up and he hits the
sign, and it takes Dennis Hopper's head off, and he's like, "Yeah, well, I'm taller."
Oh, that's what they were. Yeah,
that line to me is
sense.
It's kind of endearing because it doesn't make much sense. It's like that's a weird line. Like,
yeah, wouldn't you want to be shorter in this instance?
Yeah, right.
I've got two whenever you're...
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty much done.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's the two. One is one I pulled, and one is a little bit of think about it. Mm-hmm. There's a really funny line. Sandra Bullock is when she... You know, how are you feeling about driving this thing? She's like, well, it's just like driving a really large Ford Pinto. Mm-hmm. If you like the Ford Pinto had a huge recall back in like the 60s or 70s because anytime there was an accident, if there was a fire, the gas can would catch on fire and explode.
Jesus.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny that, you know, I'm driving a really large
bomb
thing that's gonna, that's gonna explode. So I thought that was kind of like really, it's like one of those lines you hear and it's like, oh, like
that's a very niche reference.
Well, she just named a car, like who cares? But then you look it up, it's like, oh wow, that is really funny if you know what she's talking about. But the other one is this one was kind of getting into the gritty. The first bus that it explodes, okay, there's an advertising on it as it says "Save the Clams." And it's a Bank of America. It's Bank of America in Santa Monica ad, right? Mm-hmm. In The Big Lebowski.
Oh, they call money clams.
Yeah, remember he goes, I don't know what the kids are calling it these days. You know, whatever are clams. And then Walter comes in there and goes, bro, you know, I got like, when are we gonna pick up the clams? You know, and it's always like, well, how did they come up with clams?
Yeah,
where did they come up with clams from? I bet that at the time, because they're both in the same area, that sign "Save the Clams," they took it as a metaphor for save our money.
Oh yeah,
you know, because it's a bank doing it, and then that way, like I had never known where it came from, and then it's like, oh, some really bad marketing in the 90s.
Yeah,
like that's had to have been where they got that reference from.
Oh yeah,
some shitty like advertising from Save the Clams. Because like I read it, I was like, what's Save the Clams? And then I went to the scene. You got to check out the scene. You know, it's right there. It says Save the Clams, and it says sponsored by you know Bank of America, Santa Monica.
Yeah,
and it's like, what the? So that I thought that was kind of like a funny tie-in to If you'd seen The Big Lebowski and you ever get the clams joke, because I drop clams all the time.
Yeah.
Figuratively and literally.
Oh, brag about it. So what would you rate this film?
This is like an 8 or a 9 out of 10. I don't remember what I threw on IMDb. I'm not going to lie. If it was a 9, it might now be an 8. But I'm not going to knock it just because of how many times I've seen it. So it wasn't as entertaining watching it Friday night that it had been previously. But like I said, this is a very simplistic plot, and without much growth or thinking about, what's going on, it's more of like maybe in the moment or the production of it or finding more nuances with Jan de Bont's direction of it, like makes it fun. So it's either an 8 or a 9 that I have it on IMDb. Whatever I have it, I'm going to leave it.
Yeah.
But this is a movie that if you hadn't seen it, I'd recommend. And
absolutely.
I think it still holds up besides the introduction with the it's a cool shot, but the font is very annoying.
The elevator, when it's just going down and going down and going down.
So actually what they did, they made a miniature elevator, and they shot it sideways from up top going down, because you can't,
Oh, yeah.
So they shot it this way, I guess, horizontally on the x-axis, and the font with the titling is what I have in it. I mean, it looks like a shitty PowerPoint presentation.
Oh yeah, I noticed that too.
Like that's like what I did like in 7th grade. I was like, man, this is fucking sick.
Yeah, and the way each time it passed a beam, the text would disappear and then reappear.
Yeah,
it's like they were fucking proud of themselves when they did that.
Yeah, back in the night, that would be like the one where if I was showing this to someone up today, I would skip past that part. I kind of like it because it makes me laugh, but I've also seen the film. You take someone that's 22 and show them that, they're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. What is this old ass shit?
Yeah. And it is kind of funny. I mean, it's coming up on 30 or...
Yeah, 30 years.
30 years. Like, that's kind of wild. Man.
Maybe we'll get an anniversary edition,
I would really like to watch some of the special. This is just a movie this is one of those movies where you talk about hitting it right and getting lucky. I think this is what you get.
Yeah.
So what do you got over there?
So I gave it a 7 out of 10. I might bump it up to an 8.
Yeah.
It's definitely closer to an 8 than a 7.
Right.
Obviously, there's not much characterization in the film. There's not much in terms of character development. There's some technical stuff that was a little goofy, some logical inconsistencies, but I mean, I think at the end of the day it serves its purpose and it does what it set out to do, which is deliver a very well done action film that sticks in your mind and is very memorable. So
yeah, and there's gonna be some things that you'll probably be able to bring up whenever. I mean, probably pop up in your head daily if you see it and you go, oh shit.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of wouldn't that be interesting? And then you live in that speed world.
Yeah. Like I said, this movie was super memorable. I was impressed of how much I actually retained from when I watched it the first time, which is, pretty long ago, I would say.
Absolutely.
So, speaking of long ago in 1997, they wanted, what's the director's name?
Jan de Bont. They
wanted Jan de Bont to make another speed film, even though he said that he would only make the one. So, and we got Speed 2, Cruise Control.
Yes.
Written
and directed by Jan de Bont.
I will let you take this.
So, way back when, he said he was only doing one. And studios came out and they kind of were throwing some ideas at him. One of the ideas was that there was a plane that could not go above 10,000 feet.
Yep.
Right? And old Jan said, nope, not doing it. And then he said,
old Jan said, I had a dream.
I had a dream that a cruise liner was sinking or destroying an island village. Nightmarish. I wake up in cold sweats.
It haunts me.
We need to do this film.
And now I want to haunt everybody else after I make it.
Old Jan wrote, I thought Graham Yost wrote it because I had to look up. He didn't have anything to do with it.
No hand in it whatsoever.
Which is crazy because they had 3 people that wrote this. One for characters. Jan wrote the story itself. And then another guy, I think, helped out with the story. This Joel Nathanson or Steve Nathanson.
Okay.
He's got actually good movie credits, writing credits to his name. I don't know how he got attached to this scene.
Maybe he had like a little bit of input and not much else to do with it, you know?
I think
like a Charlie Kaufman chaos walking sort of scenario.
Yeah. So Jan got the studio signed off on this. They said absolutely we'll do it, and we get Speed 2 Cruise Control starring Jason Patric, Willem Dafoe, Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock's back.
Yeah, I think those are like the only 3 real.
Those are the big names, really.
Really, that's it. Everyone else is a jobber.
Yeah, a huge jobber.
Well, and when you see the budget of this thing, it's not like shocking. So Jason Patric, Sandra Bullock. The movie starts out with Sandra Bullock being even more ditzy than ever.
Oh yeah,
just really slapped in the face. And she's going on. She's trying to get her driving lessons with none other than Tim Conway.
Okay.
He was a comedian, most notable for Dwarf on Golf. If you guys haven't seen
You've brought that up before. Yeah.
Yes. And I didn't realize it was Tim Conway. And then I saw this on Reddit. Him and Jan are like friends, and Jan wanted to revitalize his career, so he brought him in for...
Oh, well, what a great way to do that.
Yeah. Hey, hop into my really shitty movie. So anyway, Sandra Bullock's driving, and she's going on and on about her boyfriend and how, the last one that she had really didn't work out. And then this one helps old ladies in the beach, and he's like a lifeguard, or he does like beach patrol. And once you know it, some action sequences kind of bring them together. Some sort of serendipitous event, and then she finds out who he really is. And his way of saying sorry is, let's go on a cruise. So they get on the cruise liner, and they see this mischievous Willem Dafoe. They look around. He's a golfer, but doesn't like watching golf. That really tips things off. And old Willem puts in some devices so that the boat cannot slow down. Crazy.
I need my golf clubs.
Yeah. Excuse me.
I need my golf clubs.
So then after that, it's somewhat similar kind of storyline or plot elements as the first one, and we're just going to throw in these scenes and scenarios of how do you get out of this? And that's
how do I get out of it?
Goes to. So Kyle.
Yeah.
Kyle. I'm going to tell you right now. This is how I wrote down in my notes. I got the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay. So do you want to do the good? Do you have any good about this?
No.
There's got to be something. How about I'll do my good and then you say why it's not good?
Okay.
And then we can do the bad and then we can just really get after it.
All right.
So I got the good. I think one of the goods I wrote was this movie is really designed for ages 8 to 13 and holds their attention. I noticed today when I had it on this morning, I was over at, my girlfriend's sister's house, and her kids were down there, and I think Preston was down there. So there was probably like 3-4 kids, everyone watching it.
Okay.
Everyone watching it. No idea what's going on, but it's so simple. They were like, why is that boat going to crash into that boat? Like that, they got to stop. And I was like, oh, wow. Because this movie came out in what, 97?
Yeah, 97.
97. Guess who saw it at 8?
You.
Guess who loved it 8 to 12?
Oh,
this was an
McClain B. Parker.
HBO staple. 9 a.m. Super Smash Bros. Coming on. Guess what's going on the other screen? Speed 2 Cruise Control.
Oh, wow.
That's maybe not good, but it held my 8-year-old's ass attention. All right. And all these other kids I was watching.
It got you to shut up for 2 hours.
Hey, I was glued to it. Glued to it because everyone's cartoony. And like the scenarios don't make sense, and they're so outlandish, that it's very easy as an 8-year-old to sit there and just get mesmerized.
Yep.
Grown up Mac, maybe not so much. The cinematography at moments in this very, very capturing. Jan's got his signature style with a helicopter that pans out of these grandiose events, or things that are going on. Or they were on that boat for 6 weeks in production, right? Did you read that?
No.
Yeah, they were on that boat that the sea is like the Seaborn again or something like that.
Okay.
That cruise liner, it cost $38,000 a day to be on that boat, and they rented it out. So you want to know why it was $160 million budget?
Because it's on fucking water and on that boat.
Yeah.
Any movies that involve water, the budget just balloons by 3 times.
People haven't realized it's not a good idea.
No.
Now back then, I don't blame him because he's like, God, we're gonna do something. I made 150 on a $30 million budget. Imagine what I can do with, you want $1 billion in your wallet? So, but the cinematography, I think, Jan, and he was a cinematographer of Die Hard, and I think he did he probably had his own cinematographer in Speed, but had a lot of the shots that he probably told the guy what he wanted. So, that wasn't, I thought that was pretty good at times. All right. Now, I'm not saying the whole film's fucking fantastic, but there are shots that are kind of fun to watch and see how they did it. I mean, like the underwater fight scene.
I think compared to the first Speed movie, this is so lackluster in terms of like the visuals and the action. It's like what's going on screen.
Yeah, and I'd agree with that. I'm not, like I said, it's not all of them. Kyle. At moments, I'm trying to really find stuff here.
I'm scraping together. Okay, just let me have this.
Willem Dafoe as a villain. I thought he was good.
I will agree to an extent that he is probably the best part of the movie for me.
Right.
Because to me, it felt like he was genuinely the best actor in the entire thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so I to an extent I agree with you there.
I mean, we're not saying like he's like, and when I say good, I mean this is like a steaming pile of shit and there's worms crawling out of it. And you're like, boy, let's make sure my dog got some protein in there.
Yeah.
And there's like a little, you're like, all right, like that's.
Oh, there's a little sliver of a banana in that shit pile.
Yeah, like all right, that's got to count for something.
A little speck of a blueberry.
But as an 8-year-old, the scene with the leeches, that was kind of mesmerizing. Like that's a little freaky.
He called them his boys.
Yeah, my nurses. He literally was like, they're keeping me alive longer.
These are my friends.
Not only so he's so jaded at life that he's got an extra 2 years to live that he's gonna crash a fucking cruise ship. But like that, you haven't seen that. I haven't seen that before or after, and those leeches did get on him. So I mean, he went through with it.
Yeah.
But cartoony, absolutely. The propeller scene, about as tense moment as you can get.
I don't know, man. I didn't fucking like that one at all.
Well, at this point, you were probably so pissed that I made you watch this.
At that point, I was checked out. I was done. Like, I was still watching it, and I was still, like, taking it in, but I was just laying there, like, when the fuck is this going to be over?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, see, it's all different for me. This is why I had to talk to someone about this, just because me and Sam, so to give you the heads up, me and Sam hadn't seen this in 20 years.
Yeah.
As soon as this movie came out and it was on HBO all the time, and then it just kind of disappeared, and then you don't see it anywhere. I think I might have saw it like at a $5 bin, which might have been overpaying for it. And it was like I just hadn't seen it in a while. So, and I know that it got rated bad, but I'm like, God, I remember this movie being like awesome as an 8-year-old, but you don't know anything about emotional ties. You don't care about character development. It's literally all eye candy that you want. So that's all this movie is.
Yeah.
Literally eye candy. But there's nothing else that supports why you're seeing the eye candy. So it turns into eye fucking, which is awful.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, which is kind of... So me and him watched this, and I laughed. I was like, God, I'm so torn on what I just saw, because I had such high reverence for this film. And to see how it just gets blasted, and then you watch it, and it's like, man, maybe there are points in it. So, all right, scenes involving water, pretty impressive. There's a couple scenes that were shot in certain ways, and then when you go on and read about, they went... the actors are doing their own stunts again, which we'll talk about. And then, but like they shot in the waters of Bermuda, and they actually, Jan de Bont was like, so they wanted clear water when they shot it. And because the water was too clear, they had to get like scuba divers in there. So as they were filming these things, scuba divers had to muddy up the lenses a little bit to give it a little bit more of a grittier effect.
Oh, yeah. So, okay. And
then Jason Patric doing his own stunts. I mean, that was kind of really impressive. But, yeah, so...
Is that all?
Oh yeah, that's points? It, and that's like that. Okay. Those are all maybe that's like when you go Halloween and every house is handed out a carrot on Halloween, because it's healthy, and then you get to the one and they're like, here's a Tootsie Roll. And it's like, boy, this is shit, but it's better than fucking carrots and celery.
I will tell you my journey through this film.
Okay.
So put it on, and the whole opening was Sandra Bullock going through, talking about how she's not with Keanu Reeves anymore because
broke your heart.
He's not romantic. And then later in the fucking movie, there's a scene where Jason Patric reads his badge number to her, And he's like, 418-612. And she's like, what? And he's like, that's my badge number. Remember from earlier? And she's like, oh, okay. There's no fucking chemistry between the two at all.
No.
Like, the whole movie is hinging on, like, their emotional connection between the two of them, and
so
there's no fucking chemistry. Like, I'm not even saying that Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock had, like, the best chemistry, but because of the nature of the first movie, there's nonstop action going on, and because of that, the situational dialogue that the two have work because it serves a purpose for what's going on. This movie, there's so much fucking downtime, and the two of them, it relies so heavily on, like, those two working as a couple and, like, their, like, conflict of, like, their relationship, and I just don't buy it.
No. So this is, as we talk about all this stuff, I'm going to try to sprinkle in maybe why this happened. There's a reason this film fucking bombed. So Keanu that got approached with this, I got to be careful. I mean, oh my God. Keanu got approached to do this, read the script, and just went, dude, like, first it's on a bus and now we're on a cruise line. He's like, you went from slow to slower. Like, he's like, I can't do it. I'm going to say no thanks. You know, read the script, didn't like it at all. Good choice by him, by the way. Mm-hmm. So they approached Sandra Bullock with it, and Sandra Bullock only took it so she could finance her film Hope Floats. Okay. Do you know who produced the production house of Hope Floats is?
The director of this movie?
Nope.
No.
It's titled, oh geez, oh lordy, hold on one second. The production house of Hope Floats is Fortis Films Production.
Okay.
Do you know who is the owner of that production house?
Who?
Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock took this fucking film to put into her own film to make her own, start her own production house. She didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Jason Patric took this to produce of like Your Friends and Neighbors.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Two people that could care fucking less about anything going on in this film.
There's no passion or want to be there. It's literally just obligation.
They said, we'll do this to get to the next.
Yeah.
So there's, between those two, neither of them could care about being together in that whatsoever.
And you can fucking tell.
Jason Patric, well, so in Patrick's defense, he said, we'll do this, but I've read over the script. I want to see some changes before we get going. And he asked to make some revisions to the script for his character probably. And they said, oh, yeah, we'll do it. You know, come on in. So he got paid between, I had to look this up to see, because honestly, he did like Friends and Neighbors. He went on to produce that. He said he put his whole paycheck he got from this in there, which was $4.5 to $8 million. And that thing flopped. And then I don't see him attached to any producer credits on anything again. So I think he got out of that business too. Jason Patric, this might have ruined his career.
Yeah, I haven't. I don't remember seeing this guy in any movies.
He did The Alamo, is about the next recognizable thing after this in 2004. So that's 7 years, and he played like a dying like Sam Gunn Billy something. I can't remember. Anyways, so both these guys, they took their paychecks to produce their next best thing. Sandra Bullock actually might have worked out. But Jason Patric asked for his revisions to the script, and they said they do it. And then he gets in there like, yeah, we're not doing that. So you got Jason Patric, who, 1, asked for some revisions, 2, is using this to finance something else, and 3, has to spend every day in a tuxedo-drenched outfit.
Yeah.
Like, hey, today we're going, over to we're going into Bermuda. You're going to dive into the water. We're spending the next 2 hours with you just in your tuxedo trying to get off, the propeller line. Like, all right, come on up. And then what do you do after that? You go back to your fucking tent. They're on the cruise ship the whole time.
Yeah. So just thrust into these, like, awful filming situations.
Yeah.
I wonder if one of the revisions he wanted was the fucking 15-year-old thing going on in the movie.
To be not in there?
Yeah. What the fuck was that all about?
Oh, man, we watched this. So me and Sam are watching this. So when they do the thing where it's kind of that weird thing in the dinner where he's like looking at her and he's like, I just can't, I speak, sign language or whatever. And so Sam's like, this is kind of fucking weird. I was like, I don't know. Dude, like if you speak sign language and you don't talk to anyone that does it, and you want to talk to someone, you'd probably talk to, like, if I knew German and wanted to talk, and I started talking to German, you'd be like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But if there was an 8-year-old that was just speaking German, like I'd probably strike up a conversation because it's like something, you know, you just want to.
Yeah.
There's no ill intent behind it. Really, you're just using it to see your baseline.
Yeah.
So that wasn't that weird. But then you find him watching the film of Lolita.
Mm-hmm.
That film when he got seasick. I didn't know this, but Sam's like, that's really creepy. And I was like, what? And he's like, that movie Lolita, it's about a 40-year-old falling in love with a 15-year-old. And
Yeah.
it's like very politically like.
I read about that after I watched this movie because I wasn't like, I didn't really know what Lolita was. And so I read up on it. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Let's find. And then we'll have them all of a sudden like get mixed up.
So the worst one is later in the film because she's like trapped in a room, right? And she's trying to like figure out how to get out. And like he ends up like getting to her and say, I don't remember how he got to her because it's all a fucking blur. And then she signs to him, I love you. And then what he says, he doesn't say anything like,
thank you,
we can't be together because you're a minor and I'm in a relationship. He says, oh, well, you know, people in extreme circumstances never work out. It's like, you don't fucking say that to a child. You do not say that to a child. That you do not tell them that that's why it can't work out. You tell them it's because they're a minor.
Yeah,
and
I'm
it's
very
wrong.
flattered for this, but you are very young, and you know this is not.
I'm
right.
too old for you is what he should have said.
Yeah, like you whatever you gotta say, dude. He was so thrown off by that and said that. I'm so happy you said this because we watched this and I looked at Sam. Like,
I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
I was
dude.
like, I just shook my head because he brought up the Lolita thing and I was like, all right, now we're kind of getting into the weird, you know, relationship aspect of it. And then she says that and he's like, no, you know, this won't work out because we're on a boat. You're only in love with me because this thing's sinking. You know, like, hey man, how about like, you know, this is like really inappropriate. Sorry, you know, it's very flattering, but you know, you've got a lot of your life left and we'll never see each other again.
Not a chance to quote the first movie in a quirky and novel way. You know?
Hey, let's have some fun with this. Isn't this kind of hot? Like,
Jesus.
Yeah.
Fucking Christ.
I looked at that's when I was like, this is like, he had a lot of other things he could have said there.
I couldn't believe what I was watching. I honestly couldn't. Like, at that point, like, fuck me, man.
Oh, dude. Let it out. This is why we have it here. This is why I wanted to hear about it.
No, I mean, I pretty much did let it out. Like, why would you fucking include that in a movie?
That was bizarre. That
like,
was the
There's
weirdest.
no purpose to it whatsoever. Like, it only serves, like, to make his character look worse. And the fact that you wrote it into the movie is just fucking weird.
Yes.
Like,
and how about instead of like, so that's kind of weird. Let's have like a little bit of a callback or them seeing each other. You know, like let's ease over that whole like what happened there gig. Nope, that's the last we see of her.
Nope.
He just says sorry, it's not going to work because this is like call back to the first one, and then she just disappears.
You think she's gonna have more importance to the story because they make a point of like, oh, they can communicate with each other.
Yes.
Maybe there's gonna be like some situation where that's gonna come in handy.
Stealth, reconnaissance, something where they're
Something.
in, and like you can do the whole
something. No, it literally just serves for that
to
like
have
love
a
story.
callback line. I don't even know if it's part. We were talking about like, hey, trim the fat. I was like, this is one character that no one needs.
No,
like I mean, and I appreciate that maybe they're trying to get some of the deaf and sign language going on, you know, community in there, like they did with Coda.
Yeah,
but as we try to promote that as a language, but like
implement it in the story.
That's what I'm saying. I would say that would be the only part of it I'd trim unless they're doing it for that. But if you're doing it for that and you want to have it in there for whatever, then like. Figure out a good fucking way to do it besides creepy old guy like, and the problem is like I don't see it even as Patrick. It's the director that thought it was appropriate to have it in there. It's not like
exactly. It's the director
he wrote the film and was like, I would like to have this in here, and that's really like.
Why?
Dude,
why?
Jason Patric didn't go up and say, hey, let's have. He probably was like, this is kind of weird. Can we not do this? I don't want to come off as a child molester. And the director's like, oh.
Wouldn't it be funny?
Yeah, Jason, don't worry about that. It's a callback. It'll be really funny. Everyone's going to love it.
You'll understand it once the final film is made, you know, once it's cut.
Yeah. And the best part about all that, too, is like it's the first time you actually see something in Jason Patric's eyes, like of acting, where it's kind of like, oh shit moment, and I bet you it's just him watching his career get shot. Like it's like one of those things where you just like, you know, they like pull the hostage out like in Breaking Bad, and they just pull that person out and just, you know, and they're holding you there, making you watch it. And it's just like that was him. He's like, you know, that person at that moment just standing. He's like, no.
Just watched it float away, much like this fucking
I think
boat.
that might have been part of my ugly that I had in there, because that was a really bad. Just what are we doing?
We had to talk about that. That was fucked up. So we can go to like the other points that we had. But,
oh no, I got a ton of them. I mean,
yeah,
the writing for Sandra Bullock was shit. I mean,
how
about like
terrible? Just her character.
Does her character serve any purpose at all?
No. It felt like Jason Patric was like the central character, and that she was just kind of like a side whatever. Like they brought her back from the first movie. Like she's the only character that comes back from the first film.
They got 4 of them actually in there.
Who else?
But, so Helen, the chick that was on the elevator, she's on the cruise liner.
Really?
But no one really knows if she's there as like a Yonda Bond. You know, like, hey, I got an extra that could play it. The Jaguar guy.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's back for a bit. Yeah.
Yep. Sandra Bullock, and then there was a 4th in there too that I can't. Mac. Mac was in it. Mac was in it at the very beginning.
Which one is he? The
captain? He's a lieutenant.
The cop. Okay.
Yeah, the lieutenant colonel.
Gotcha.
The guy that played in Terminator.
I thought he was the same guy, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
Well, hold on, time out. I mean, just in all fairness for you, no, of the main characters that people you'd like recognize, yeah, because Mac had 2 lines of dialogue. Obviously, did it to get a paycheck. Yeah, and then the other 2 were people that how are you gonna remember them? So Sandra Bullock's the only one of notoriety that did come back. And reminder everyone, she's only doing this to get $5 million to pour into her production house.
Yeah, exactly. Like it felt like they brought her, like she's a main character in the first film. Like it's billed with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock on the cover of it. They
billed it as it was Sandra Bullock was like top bill, I think.
Yeah, like, and then they bring her back for this movie, and it feels like her name is on the cover, but it feels like it should say Jason Patric, Willem Dafoe.
100%.
Like, it feels like she should be third billed because she's not in it as much as you would think.
I would say that she's... No, I don't know, man. You watch it. All right, so this is what I'll say. She doesn't feel like that because she doesn't do anything of importance.
Yeah.
There's nothing that she does that aids much more to the plot.
No, Jason Patric does so much more than what she does. She
saved some people out of a room
with a chainsaw
at one point, and
that's on a fucking boat.
That they were like, yeah, no.
Why is there a chainsaw on a boat?
Couldn't tell you. I mean, I don't know.
Do they run into a lot of trees on the open ocean?
You know, it's like one of those things where, dude, they made her so ditzy. I felt so bad for her. They made her so stupid in this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the opening scene is like, hey, remember how she couldn't drive? Let's just make her really just fucking dumb at everything she does.
Oh, yeah. Her character's just there to, like save some people and screw shit up and, like, be ditzy. And that's it.
Sandra, you're just going to be the hot AU chick that gets really fucked up, you know, and you have sex with Jason Patric, and we just want eyes on you. Yeah. All right, babe, that's all we want.
And then Jason Patric's over there.
He's going to hook up with a 15-year-old. You're good.
He's super bland in the movie. Like, I didn't like him at all. Compared to Keanu Reeves, dude, Keanu Reeves had like charisma, and he had something to work with, and he was like, you know, he was out there, you know, he was thrust into it, and he was like all about the movie, and you could tell Keanu like put all his energy into it, and Jason Patric was a fucking stale potato chip.
Jason, agent says you're going to take this movie on. So you're looking at it, you're like, all right, let them know if they make revisions to the script. I'll sign on. What am I getting? All right, I'm going to take that. I'll flip it into this movie that I really want to make. So I could care less about that. Jason Patric still hasn't seen this movie to this date. He said that he didn't go to the opening. He didn't really care about it. He was so mad that he got... By the way, yeah, Keanu, you're going to do your own stunts. It's on a bus going 25. We're going to have you talking to people. You're jumping from car to car. You know, you're completely dry. There's nothing going on, you know, besides maybe putting you in peril with a moving object of the bus. You know, other than that, like, you're in comfort the whole time. Maybe a little hot because it's going to be 90, you know, in the Mojave Desert. Jason, you're going to spend 3/4 of this film in water.
Yes.
By the way,
soaked to your ass.
Fully clothed. Like, me and my brother were talking. It's like one of those things where it's like, hey, we're gonna go swimming for 4 hours, and you kind of like, you get to that second, 2-3 hour mark, and hands are really pruny.
Yeah.
Like you're like, all right, I'm kind of getting uncomfortable. It's a little chilly because the sun's moving in the wrong direction.
And you want to go back, but then other people are still having fun. So you're like, I guess I'll stay, but I don't really want to anymore.
Yeah, like this is kind of, and by the way, you came for fucking swimming.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, Kyle, you're going to go in that, and I want you to move around in that for 4 hours.
In my flannel and my skinny jeans.
Yeah, like we're just going to jump you into a pool, and this is what you're going to work off of. Oh, by the way, you don't want to be here.
Yep.
Like,
you are obligated to fund what you want to fund.
Which I felt bad because I think flopped.
Yeah.
But we don't need to talk about that. Yeah, so that's why I feel, he's got, if honestly, it's like if he poured his heart and soul into this, do you think it makes it any better?
I mean, not really, but at least I wouldn't hate him as much.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm sticking up for him right now, because it's like it's not really his fault. Like,
no,
he could have did better, but like he really got fucked over.
It's just like one small factor in a mountain of shit that is this movie.
Oh man.
So I got like halfway through this film, and I said to myself, how much fucking time is left? There's got to be like 20 minutes. And I looked at the time, and it still had an hour left, and I Jesus Christ, I want to die. Like, I was checked out like after an hour. Like up until like when the boat starts getting out of control and they're like heading towards that cargo ship, that big cargo ship.
Yeah.
At that point, I was done. I was just waiting for the movie to be over.
Yeah.
And it couldn't have come soon enough because it fucking dragged. And I think that's a core issue with this film is that like you set it on a boat, you really don't get like a huge sense up until like they run into like a bunch of the smaller boats and they hit the pier of like the danger of this boat going as fast as it is like out of control. Like you're on the open ocean, there's not as much risk to it as there is with a bus on a highway that has like all these pedestrians, all these other cars, all like this urban setting where like there's all these people, and that you have to like consider like all the different factors that would play into it.
Not only that, it's got to stay above 50.
Exactly.
So, like, if it goes below 50, it's not just out in the middle of the ocean and it just a little blip blows up.
Clear and concise rules to that first movie that you understand the implications of. Mm-hmm. With this film, I really couldn't tell like what really was like they can't communicate with anybody, but then all of a sudden they can, like, and then like the boat is going fast and it's like moving, but it's like trying to stop. Like I don't know how fast the boat is going at this point.
I do.
Like
I looked it up.
Oh yeah, 17
knots. So I think it might have topped out. It's probably going. It was probably going 18 knots. You know how fast a knot is miles per hour?
I don't know the equal
1.15. So if this thing was going about 22 miles an hour.
Yeah,
on the open sea.
Like, what the fuck? There's no.
I was sitting there, I was like, because I got really pissed when it's crashing into the island and it's at like 3 knots, and I was like, all right, how fast is this thing really going at 3 knots? Like, why can't it stop? I was like, this thing better be like 40 miles an hour still. Looked it up. Yeah, nope, it's going at about 4 miles an hour tearing through the island, and I'm like, oh, that's why
as fast as people walk.
Yeah, that's why you leave it in knots. Now, the only thing that and I really couldn't tell you if the physics behind it. I think this would be on a Mythbusters thing that at crashing into the island at maybe, I don't know, 6 miles an hour after 100 feet with sheer force, it would stop. Like I don't know how strong that propeller is to grind through all that shit, but like 3 miles an hour as a boat, I don't know how much that is impacting with force. But they leave it in knots because no one knows how fast a knot is. I didn't. 18 knots, when I saw that, I was like, this thing's going like 60 miles an hour. This is flying through the water. Mm-hmm. No wonder this is dangerous. Mm-hmm. And I don't think anyone cares to look up what a knot is. And then I was like, when they went like to 1.8 knots and it's still grinding, and I was like, what is a knot? And then I looked it up and I go, are you 1 mile an hour? That's going through the city? That?
It's such a big issue with this film. Like, just the premise alone. Like, you don't have much room to work with in terms of, like, action set pieces. Like, that's why they include so much shit on the boat itself.
Yeah.
That's why there's, like, all this fire going on. Like, Willem Dafoe's chucking these grenades left and right. And
Oh
he's
my God.
fucking trapping Jason Patric in a room. Like,
The whole second act is almost unwatchable because it's all close-ups with strobe lighting.
exactly. Like,
Disorienting.
the action has to be contained on the boat because otherwise you have fuck all else going on outside of the boat with it going 25 miles an hour apparently. And it feels like a cheap like knockoff of a Die Hard movie that is nowhere near the caliber of Die Hard like at all. Because it's set inside the boat for the most part. Like all this shit's happening. Like they're chasing Willem Dafoe through it. They've got to save these people in a room. Like it didn't feel nearly as fucking like tight as the first movie. And I think that's like a big issue that I had with it. Like one of the many big issues that I had with it.
This thing was like, I think Jan de Bont wanted to go on a cruise for 8 weeks and
this is why fund his vacation.
Told everyone he had a nightmare of a cruise ship because he's like, I can get 160 million and hang out on this thing for fucking 6 weeks. Are you kidding me?
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that was one of it. Oh my God! Yeah, don't there you go. That's what a nod is, everyone. So in case you wanted to know,
after an hour, I was done. I was gone. I couldn't give a shit. I wanted it to be over, and I don't know if that's like how your experience with it was, or
no, Kyle. This is something that I thoroughly enjoyed as a kid. I thoroughly enjoyed.
But how about as an adult?
How
about as a 32-year-old man?
It's more fun reading up on this thing and like going through where everyone's headspace is at with all this. The only one I haven't caught yet's like Willem Dafoe because like I was laughing with my brother and I'm like, it's so bizarre that he's in this because like the last thing I'd seen him is like Heaven on Earth or what's the Van Gogh?
At Eternity's Gate.
At Eternity's Gate. And I'm like, I really think like Defoe's like a guy that like cuts his like forearm and takes his blood and like wipes it under his eyes as tear marks, you know, to like, I want to show the audience I'm sad and that I'm going through pain. And it's very like a method actor, I guess. Like,
yeah, so he puts it all in there. Like he takes his job seriously.
Yeah, and I feel like he'd be like a guy that's like, I go to New York to do screenplays, stage plays, because I really want to be in front of the audience and have the genuine, you know, like
I've watched like old videos of him and he definitely gives off like theater kid vibes.
Yeah,
you know?
like he strikes me as like a guy that's really into like Daniel Day-Lewis would not be in this. Like he's another guy that it's like
trying to picture that now.
Oh, dude, it would be. I could. That'd be great.
Oh, man.
Dude, no, he wouldn't be. He'd quit as soon as he like. Yeah.
As soon as they like approached him, he's like, nope, and he just walks away.
I got golf clubs. Like these are turned into bombs.
He's like, I don't know who you're talking to. I'm Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah. So I mean, like Defoe in this, I thought he was the one, and I'm kind of curious as to why he took this. Like, I don't know if he owes Jan de Bont, like, you know, money or
maybe he saw he just wanted to play a villain because like he seems to enjoy playing villain types. I mean, you've got Green Goblin, like the Lighthouse to a certain extent. Like you've got these characters that he enjoys playing that are like more menacing, and he's got a good presence for a menacing character. You know, you look at his like evil smile, it's like, holy shit, that's fucking terrifying. Like
he does hit you with a couple of them in the movie too. Like,
and it like that's part of why like I didn't hate him in this movie. Like he actually, it felt like he was doing a good job. And
I think
was, like doing what he could. Yeah, he did his best.
Yeah, like there's no denying. At some point he was probably like, this is ludicrous, you know. But then they drag him out there and he does like one of those things and it's just on. Yeah, you know, throws his face out like, all right, start it. You know,
like he might know how stupid it is, but he's still taking it seriously.
Yeah, like I signed up to do a good job. Like my father, you know, when I was delivering newspaper and the milk to everyone's house, like told me that, you know, 10 cents is 10 cents. Like, you know, that's someone else's money they're giving you for service.
That's when they called him the milkman.
Yeah, that's what we share. But Jason Patric, I mean, you know, and then he's getting woken up like, all right, and they throw him his tux, you know, get ready. So we're going into the fucking waters.
Can I go through my notes that I took just to like read them off?
Yeah, sprinkle them in here and there because I got all of yours are bad. I'm at the bad and the ugly, but we've ran through. So right now we've gone through writing for Sandra Bullock, Lolita, and I haven't done anything to him. Jason Patric, we've talked about him.
Yep.
strobe lights getting mixed in, and then scene logistics were just peppering.
Oh, that's most of my notes is scene logistics.
That you don't. Hey, sprinkle away. Let's go into some of these.
So I already brought it up, but why is there a chainsaw on a boat?
Yep.
Tells deaf girl, "Don't let go of me," even though she's deaf. He just talks to her. Sandra Bullock barely does anything.
So that's why I think she's in a lot of this film, but she doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
I think she's just running around. Like, there's one point she has a grenade in her hand, and she's like, "Where's the grenade?" Mm-hmm. He's like, "You're holding it."
Yeah.
Take it out. Take it now, please.
Yeah. She complains about Jack Keanu not being romantic, and then fucking Jason Patric reads his badge number.
Oh, by the way,
so romantic.
Quick question.
What's that?
So Jason Patric SWAT in this thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's
Keanu's SWAT too, right?
Yes.
Are they? I tried to look up where this was at, because I was like, if this is Santa Monica, that's 15 minutes from LA. So this is clearly he'd be part of like the SWAT team that Keanu's on.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. Maybe they thought, like, maybe in their headcanon they were like, oh, Keanu Reeves after the breakup like moves to a different area or something.
They didn't say anything. I mean, even if he did that, it doesn't. It sounded like they just broke up and they'd been together right as they broke up.
No, so it's the dumbest excuse.
Keanu would have been like, Keanu would know that Jason Patric is fucking his ex.
Yeah,
like that would cause Dude, I just came up with Speed 3.
Fuck yeah, dude. I was about to say you came up with the next sequel.
I mean, like, but I mean, I was like watching this. I was like, this is really weird, because Keanu definitely knows that Jason Patric's hooking up with Sandra, even if he moved. Like, because she immediately got into that relationship. I mean, if you're going off 3 years, because it's not like they go smash cut. Really, if anything, they went to like I don't know how long they said they were dating for. Mm-hmm. Enough to get married.
Yeah. So then the next one I had was low frame rate slow-mo. Fucking hate when movies have that. That wasn't in the first Speed, I don't think. It's like the low frame rate, like slow motion.
They had $160 million budget, dude.
Yeah. It's like,
do whatever you want.
And then in this movie, it just feels like such a downgrade. There's that scene where, you know how Jason Patric is like trying to like stop the propeller. He's like underwater. And Sandra Bullock and the photographer are there. Willem Dafoe has a gun.
Yep.
And he sneaks past them.
Yep.
But
it's not the photographer, it's the first lieutenant.
Oh, excuse me.
Hey, I'm just, let's make sure our logistics are crisp, okay?
You know what? You're right. Fair point. I will give you that. Why doesn't he just fucking shoot them both?
No one else.
But his goal is to kill them and like stop them from like fixing everything.
You really want to dive into it? Because there's the bigger gripe at the end of the film that I have.
Oh, okay. What's that?
Okay, so Willem Dafoe probably could still get the money. Mm-hmm. If he doesn't, it does no service for him. Why to have he take
Sandra Bullock? Yeah,
it serves no purpose.
I thought that too.
Literally nothing that he has diagrammed should have her in it. If there's two things going on. One, if they stop the boat, which is kind of looking like it's gonna happen, he's not getting the money. Two, I don't know if they had given him the money or not, but like. And now that I'm thinking about it too, if that thing crashes and they don't get him the money, why would they then pay him money?
I thought that he wasn't like asking for ransom. He just stole like a shit ton of jewelry on the boat. Oh yeah, right?
No, you're right. He did because he had it with him.
He had it with him, so he had even less of a reason to take her with him.
Yeah, that's what I said. We're watching this. I was like, I don't know why he has Sandra Bullock. He literally has everything planned out. He had the Sea-Doo to get out of there. No one could follow him. They're all preoccupied with stopping the boat.
Yeah.
Literally, if Sandra Bullock isn't with them, he could walk away, and then they could have like a Point Break ending where they catch him, on the waves, when he's in fucking Italy or something like that.
Or something, yeah.
Yeah, instead of like doing the weird callback with the Jaguar guy too, but we're watching it, I was like, this serves. He really has no reason. The only thing that it does is that it now draws more attention to him, unless he's going to make her like a sex slave or something.
It makes it harder on himself for him to take her as a hostage, and he has no reason to take her because it's not like the first villain in the first movie where Dennis Hopper is like, he's got a reason for doing all this stuff, but he's fucking crazy as shit at the same time.
Not only that, but like if they stop him and he has a hostage, he can. That's why he was gonna get. In the beginning of the film of Speed 1, he grabs Daniels because he's like, "You just cost me 3 points. I'm gonna get it one way or another." And he's got Jeff Daniels, so it's like you're gonna pay me or I'm gonna kill him now. You know, so I was like, oh, the Sandra Bullock thing. That's why he did it. He brought her down there. Money's not in there. Now he can use her now
as leverage.
Yeah. There's no. He doesn't. He has everything.
He doesn't need the leverage. He
has everything taken care of.
All he needed to do was get on that fucking jet ski and ride away.
Literally, that was it. He didn't even need to fucking kill them at that point. He could walk out of there with not killing one person that no one knows about. So maybe he feels a little guilt.
Yeah.
Okay. Besides crashing a sea liner and stealing a bunch of money, but. There's no purpose. It served nothing.
The only reason Jason Patric chases after him is because he takes Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, they couldn't do anything because they're on a crashing sea liner. So he could have left. No one can. He bought himself 30 minutes.
Yeah,
or however long it took for that thing to fucking crash. It felt like 2 hours.
It felt so fucking long. It felt so long, Mac.
Yeah. So I
was seriously wondering what you were putting me through during that fucking scene. I was like, what has Matt got me watching here?
Oh, dude, I watched this thing. Me and Sam watched it, and I was like, this still kind of holds up. But then I was like, I'm really, really, really biased because I love this film as like 8 to 12. And that's why I keep saying, like, I don't know anything about film, so now I know why I loved it, because it's just a shit ton of eye candy that makes no sense, but it doesn't need to because I'm 8. You know, like
moving colors. Oh, it's pretty.
Yeah, hell, they're in the water. Sandra Bullock's kind of hot. You know, like, look at this guy. That's a giant propeller. Oh my God, they're gonna crash into an island. Oh no, he took her. I hope he gets her back.
Oh, plane crash.
Yeah. Wow. Oh,
the whole boat exploded.
And then oh my God.
Which that doesn't fucking make any sense.
What? The
small propeller plane that crashes into the little, like, 2 feet in diameter thing that's in the open sky that he somehow hits, and then it plane
balances on it.
It balances on it. He's looking down at where he's at, and then the plane blows up. After the plane blows up, the whole fucking cargo ship blows up because apparently one small propeller plane blowing up just causes that whole catastrophe.
Yep.
So that's cool, I guess. Like,
I don't know who signed off on this. I mean, I'm honest, dude. Like, while we were watching, I was like, there's a lot of things that just don't make sense in this.
That was another one of my notes. Whole cargo ship close up, like, blows up because of plane on antenna. Like,
with the foes, like, I'm alive, you know, it's like, oh great, now you're gonna get raped by all these like cargo guys, you know, and then seagull lands on us. Well, I mean, yeah, it's like something bad's gotta happen.
International waters.
Yeah. So the seagull, I think, landed on that thing. Didn't it like fall into the cargo ship? Like, isn't I don't
remember. At that point, asking me to remember any finer detail other than that is like, it's asking for me to pull my own teeth out.
No, I'm not. Listen, all I know is that Jason Patric did a lot of his own stunts in this. So when he harpoons it, but, you know, as he gets skidded through the water. They do attach that string onto a Sea-Doo, and he does get.
Yeah, all I was thinking of during that scene was there's got to be so much fucking water up his nose.
Oh my God, dude! You know? Oh, hey, why does Jason Patric not look interested in this? You want to know why, really?
Yeah.
Hey, Jason, by the way, I don't believe in stuntmen. You're going to do all of them.
He's like, huh?
Yeah, like, you don't need anyone to act like, no, I want them to sense the fear in you.
But I'm taking the tux off, right?
No. No, maybe the vest. I still want the button up on, okay? Can you do that for me, Jason? Can you do that for me, baby?
We still want you to look good, Jason, baby. Jason, baby.
Yeah, Jason, baby. Come on. Lolita's up there. She's begging. She's signing.
Oh, God.
Save me. Save me. I got to get her. You got to get her.
He's like, I want to do some rewrites. And he's like, nope. Not happening.
Best scene in the whole thing, baby. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be... It's like when Mike Myers, someone's like, yeah, your dick joke's going to land.
Yep.
It's like... It'd be really funny. Like, dude, this is going to be... Their connection with the deaf girl, that everyone's going to be like, oh... Like, what a sweetie. No, it's just some weird... Anyways.
Yeah.
So that was part of the ugly...
Yep.
You know, I don't. There's so much. Yeah, I literally wrote that.
There's the whole thing with like so they brought that character back from the first movie. What's his name? The guy with the
Jaguar.
Car. Yeah.
Yeah.
They brought him back, and he's like with the girl. He's like with this girl.
Yep.
She says a line that like baffled me. She says, "Me no see them. Me think they're gone." It's like, okay,
Jar Jar Binks.
I get, like, what the fuck? I get that she's like from another country. Did they have to make her sound like a fucking caveman?
Jan de Bont wrote this thing, dude. I'm like, I cannot.
That was baffling to me.
Yeah, like there's a lot of questionable. Like he fell in love with a 15-year-old, and they got the Jamaican people that are like, hey, you don't know English.
Apparently, they think they're fucking stupid.
Oh my god, like very insulting.
Like, God, and then the boat, the CGI boat, when it's like turning from like avoiding the crash into the cargo ship, that was
propellers
super
are very
aged.
bad.
Propellers were awful.
All the CGI in this wasn't very good. The best, there was actually a good thing is that they actually crashed. They did a replica of a boat. So the bow of the boat. So if you watch the filming of it, they only show the bow of the boat. The bow of the boat
crashing into the island.
Yeah, and that was put on. They had track underneath the waters. They put that on there, and they actually drove it through there.
Yeah,
and they set up, and it wasn't. I don't think there was any many miniature scaling. Like it was all. Like they paid for dude,
that part. I was like kind of impressed a little bit, like with the practicality of it.
To be able to have that kind of like, hey, how are we gonna? And then if you watch it, because I read that, and then it was at the scene where it's crashing. You can see that it's clearly like caved off. You know, like if there's one thing where they're panning back on it as it's coming in. And you can see overlooking that it's just like a straight across. Like there isn't the bridge or any of the captain's quarters or anything like that up there.
Yeah, it's just like that close up.
Yeah, but that cost, I think that cost them like $40 million. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Out
of all the shit in this movie, that was one of the few, like, one or two nuggets of okayness.
So you have the okayness, and then for me, I'm like, how many times have you been in Lake Michigan and like you just unoblivious to anything coming at you?
Yeah.
Like
there's so many, like this guy's like what, reading a newspaper or something. He doesn't see all the people running away. He doesn't fucking hear all the crashing, all the screaming.
I mean, I don't live on but like if the Lake Express was coming in and they're like, brr, brr, like I'm looking up and you can see from very far away. And not only that, it's not like it's a fucking pontoon boat. They got it down to like 10 knots. This thing's going 11 miles an hour into the fucking... It's not like it's a bus speed. You can clearly see it from It would... Oh my God. 11 miles out to get there in 1 hour, which God knows how far it is. You could watch this thing for 1 hour coming at... It only goes 11 miles. So 11 miles away to get to that point, you get 1 hour to watch this thing. 1 hour. This thing isn't like it's 12 miles away.
No.
Like, you're literally watching this thing grow in size as it's coming in, and it's like, there's no place for that to
How do I get out of the way?
And how does, like, oh, my God. I could not... And then for them, like, the death and destruction that goes on, there were, I'd say, like...
I saw a couple people get, like rolled
shredded under the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Knocked out. Like, there was so much death and destruction. And nothing is ever played into effect whatsoever. You never feel like, oh my God, like that guy just got sucked into the propeller.
Yeah.
Like it's just whatever. You know, it's coming down the pipe.
Yep. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? I don't give a shit.
No, it was so bad. And then the ending when everything's done. So they said like one of his signature shots is that in the helicopter panning out, kind of, like they start out and then they zoom back, or they pan back and you get to see the whole kind of the image of everything that's gone on, around it. And you know what they play behind it?
I don't remember.
So, hey, we just killed off half the the St. Martin community. People are in shambles. This is going to cost millions of dollars for this community to get back to where it's at. We got to get the boat out, God knows how many people are dead on the boat. And they go, do, 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 do.
Oh, everything's all good.
Hey, Sandra Bullock got saved by Jason Patric. Defoe's dead. Everyone enjoy it, and then it's just like panning out, and this giant ship is sitting in the middle of this town with all these people dead, families ruined.
It's like that scene in SpongeBob where SpongeBob tells Patrick, "We did it, Patrick. We saved the day," and the fucking city's on fire.
Literally. Oh my God, it's so bad. So that was like, I was like, dude, that is so
Oh my god.
And then last one I have to do.
Okay.
Last one. Because this is one of the things when I was a kid that I remember is that the guy on the boat, one of the New Zealand guy or whatever, he was doing a countdown.
Yeah.
He was going like 8 knots.
Oh, I think he was supposed to be Irish.
Yeah.
He had a line in this movie that was very like Tommy Wiseau. He's on the phone and he just yells, "I don't care." I don't care. And that was really fucking funny.
So he does a countdown. You know what that countdown starts at?
What?
9 knots. You know what they do every time?
Oh yeah.
They go to him. They have a shot on him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember that.
Literally does a countdown from 9, just in case you don't know where the ship's at.
They make the same joke twice. They have him say 0 knots when the boat stops.
Yep.
And then like things settle down, and then it cuts back to him, and he says 0 knots. It's like, you just fucking said the same goddamn thing. Like, why?
Dude, I can't believe they keep going back to be like, just in case you guys don't remember, the boat is slowing down. We got to make sure the audience knows 6 knots.
My brain felt like it was slowing down.
So anyways, that's speed 2. It looks like you're getting ready for the next segment. So should we hop into ratings?
Let's hop into ratings.
Okay.
I'll start.
Okay.
1 out of 10.
Really?
I fucking hated this movie.
Oh no. Oh, I had a feeling like it was gonna be bad.
There's no chance of it going up. There's no chance of it going up.
I don't think it would. Like, this is yeah. So I
What about you?
I had rated this back when I was finally thinking about it about 3 to 4 years ago. So it was a genuine rating when I gave it to it. I'm not moving it at all because it still holds near and dear to my heart.
Okay.
I've seen this movie more times
Fair
than
enough.
you've probably seen your favorite movie.
Probably.
All right. So I have this as a 8 out of 10. And that's where I'm going to leave it at.
I'm sorry, what was that? Did you say...
Do I really have to say it out loud?
Yes. I want you to. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to berate you. I just want to hear what the number is.
Do you remember when I said, and we talked about our little scaling on the U-verse, and I said sometimes really bad movies have really high ratings because of the entertainment and nostalgia from it, okay? This happens to be one of those films.
What did you give it?
This is an 8 out of 10.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to say this right now, too. I get a lot of people that like walk up to me like, I don't get your sense of humor. And then they will also go like, I don't get your style in movies.
You know, I respect it because it was a nostalgic film for you, because it was a childhood film.
Dude.
That you actually managed to get something out of this movie.
I'm green with envy.
Because I fucking can't. I can't. I don't have that luxury. Okay, I don't have that perspective you have.
Oh my god, you're gonna get into a time machine and just go back and beat my ass when I was 8 years old.
My life is worse because of it.
That's your fucking butterfly effect moment. You have to go back to when I was 8 and just beat my ass before I watch this thing. And Speed 2 sucks.
You're gonna associate it with the violence I will thrust upon you.
Yeah. Oh my god.
No, it's
no.
I get what you mean. Like it's a part of your childhood. It's a part of like your.
I bet you there are a lot of shitty movies that you saw that you're like, man, I love that thing, and then you go back to it and you're like, boy.
Oh yeah, there's definitely some of those.
I mean, in all honesty though, I got a lot more satisfaction reading about Jan de Bont having nightmares about a cruise ship sinking, crashing into an island. I thought that was very funny.
Yeah,
I was like, boy, I haven't had that one yet. Finding out that Sandra Bullock owns a production company called Fortis Films, and they produce 10 to 15 films.
Yeah,
I think they just did one in 2022.
Do you remember what it was?
No, I had it pulled up. So they did All About Steve, and I think that kind of sank the thing. Even though All About Steve actually made money. This movie lost a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
This thing was 100 budgeted for. This cost Jan de Bont his career, and I'm not joking about that. This was the last thing he directed. He had one more thing I think in 2018. Someone gave him some money to do something.
Gotcha.
Jason Patric finding out, and it was kind of fun trying to see if the films that they sacrificed a lot of their dignity to get money to do something else. So it worked out for Sandra Bullock, but not necessarily Jason Patric.
Right, yeah. You don't really hear about him anymore.
No. Oh, no. So she did All About Steve in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
And, she also did the George Lopez show. Fortis Films produced that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the George Lopez show.
I would never have made that connection ever in a million years.
My brother sent me this, at the Snapchat group today.
Mm-hmm.
George Lopez, he's like, my dad watched the George Lopez show last night.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know about this either, so he just sent something out, and it's like George Lopez jumping on like a trampoline, him and his family. I was like, isn't that the Man Show entrance? You ever seen the Man Show? Adam Carolla, Steve, Jimmy Kimmel.
Mm-mm.
They're called Juggies. They just had hot blondes that were jumping on trampolines and bras.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's why they called it. It's the Man Show. It's about like show for men.
Testosterone and beef jerky.
Literally the same. It was the same backdrop. I was like watching this, so he just brought up George Lopez, and I was like, you go to Fortis Films, and from 02 to 07 they produced George Lopez. So she got signed on with Warner Bros. And they gave her extension. Last film that they produced though, The Lost City.
Oh, yep, that makes sense.
So I don't know if. Oh man, really? Cost $68 million and it grossed $190.
The Lost City.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that film was pretty successful.
Okay, well, All About Steve sucked, dude. That thing cost $15 million and made $40.
Oh,
I think Sandra Bullock has to star on these things.
Yeah, if they don't have a big name, then there's no chance it's gonna make a whole bunch.
No, but it's crazy because Speed 2 cost $160 million and it grossed 48 worldwide.
Oof, rip. Oh my god,
that'll cost you a career.
Yeah. So we can move on. Speaking of favorite movies.
Yeah, I saw something.
I made a post on Facebook asking people what their favorite movie was. I actually just got an answer 5 minutes ago.
I saw that pop up.
Yeah, so
I'm not gonna lie. I saw that. I was looking over there and I saw 3 responses, and then I was like, "Well, there's a 4th."
Perfect timing. So the first one I'll read is Gideon's favorite movie. He says, "Rat Race. I love every character, and I always feel better after I watch it."
Was there a theme with these things? I don't know if I picked up on
It's just my friends fucking with me. That's what it is. You know?
Yeah.
It's just what they do. So I've come to accept it at this point, but I'm going to read them all like that.
Okay.
So yeah, Rat Race. What do we think?
I'm glad I didn't hop because I almost hopped into that.
We can talk about these pretty quick because we're kind of.
We have to talk about these films too?
Well, just our thoughts, whether we like them or not.
Okay.
And we kind of have to touch on them a little quick because we're going a little over, but
we get 2.5 hours.
We're not
right
horrible,
there.
but yeah,
we're right there.
We're right there.
Mm-hmm.
So
no, I like Rat Race is one of the films, so I'm probably gonna have a story about all these things. Rat Race, my dad, when he was coaching at Muskegon, they had to play Escanaba in the UP, so it's kind of funny to think about a bunch of kids from Muskegon going up to the UP to play Escanaba. Yeah. Not to imagine the beating that they put on Escanaba, but just being in that environment. They had to take them they had to pass time because they got kicked out of the hotel. Mm-hmm. They had to take all these kids to see him film, and they took them to Rat Race. So
nice.
Yeah. So my dad said it's the hardest he ever laughed is that slow motion scene of them running from the 8-ball or.
Oh yeah.
You remember that?
Uh-huh.
Seth Green and then the other guy, I can't remember his name.
Oh, the tongue piercing guy?
Yeah. They had to run away in slow motion away from I don't remember what it was.
It was a cow that was tied to a a air balloon.
Yes.
A hot air balloon.
Yeah. So
I pretty much only know about this movie and have watched it a bunch of times because of Gideon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he loves this movie so much, and he will rewatch it constantly. And he gets the same amount of laughter and enjoyment out of it each and every time. And that's kind of special. That kind of makes it endearing. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy the film. It's kind of a product of its time. It's got Smash Mouth. It's got Who Let the Dogs Out. It's got Whoopi Goldberg and Breckin Meyer and Seth Green.
Breckin Meyer.
Yep. It's got all these people that were big in the early 2000s, late 90s, and
Road Trip Crew. Seth Green was kind of popping up with his
John
MTV.
Lovitz.
Yeah. The comedy.
I love the scene.
Mr. Bean was in it.
I think John Lovitz is my favorite character
in that thing.
Yep.
First time I ever heard about Prairie Dog in it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, me too. What the hell is that?
Yeah.
Her ass is hanging out of the fucking van. So yeah, we can go on to our next one. Michael says, Point Break. I love every character, and I always feel better after I watch it. Yep, it's that kind of response. But
I didn't catch, and I'm not gonna lie. So I read about these the other day, and then Lauren, right?
Yeah, she's the first one to post.
I know that's
that.
and
so I'm not gonna hold that against her.
There is a
Gideon and Mikey. You know what you've done.
Yeah, you guys, and I didn't catch on to it at first because I read Gideon's and then I read Mikey's, and then I was like, oh, I'm gonna put on here like some like really bad like. I'm trying to think of a really bad one.
Speed
like,
2.
Old Boy.
Oh, Old Boy 2013?
No. Like something that's like really offensive or,
Oh,
Monsters Ball. I love every character. Like something,
that's really hard to watch.
Yeah. Like Nicolas Cage and Leaving Las Vegas.
Okay.
Like, love every. Yeah, I was just going to write the exact same thing. And then I was like, well, I'm going to see what Lauren put. And then I read, like, I read her second one. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, wow, that's really detailed. That's really nice.
I think she wrote that after the fucking Gideon.
I know.
Mikey
that's
made
what I'm saying. So I scroll up to her first one. I read it. I was like, oh, these guys are definitely antagonizing her. I should not hop into this.
But yeah, top level Point Break. I mean, I mentioned it before, but I really enjoy Point Break. I like it better than Speed.
What one?
Oh, the only one.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's a good point. I don't know. What am I talking about? They make a sequel?
I don't know. If they did, it's probably not.
No, that one, Point Break. My Uncle Terry used to watch it on TNT all the time. So like when he would babysit me and my brother, we'd always catch like the beginning of it, and then he'd kick us out. Mm-hmm. Like we'd have to go downstairs, to play on the 64, go outside.
Yep.
Yeah, because like it was at the time, Point Break.
Yeah. Yeah, one of my top Keanu movies for sure. I really love it.
Love Point Break.
Oops. Where did her reply go? For some reason.
Deleted it.
No.
Don't want it to go on there.
For some reason, when I click on it,
it
doesn't
Mike,
want
you
to.
know what you did. I'm going to tell you guys right now, I thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Dude, you have no idea. I laughed pretty good when I was laughing pretty hard when I thought I can't remember what movie I was going to put down. And then I laughed even harder when I read like, oh, that was in response to what those two guys did.
Yeah.
Hey man, a little bit of, banner going on a Facebook post. Got to love that.
For some reason, it doesn't want to pop up when I click on it. Because she gave a nice, like, detailed answer as to why she likes the movie that she picked.
Lauren?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was Little Miss Sunshine.
Oh, I pulled it up. I got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she said Little Miss Sunshine. Since this, in reference to all the same replies. Since this seems to be a popular response, I'll add that the visuals, set design, wardrobe are really subtle but really well done. The graphics for the movie and ads were ahead of the curve in terms of minimalist design and color theory. The story is multifaceted. It's dark while also being lighthearted. It's funny while also being sad. Every one of the characters goes through an individual struggle, and while the issues are never really solved in the movie, going on this journey brings them together and alleviates some of the pain. And there's a dance number at the end.
That's pretty cool.
Is her very nicely worded, detailed reasoning as to why it's her favorite film. And I really do love Little Miss Sunshine as well.
I've seen it once, and it was, I think, right when it came out. So it's probably a movie that I have to revisit.
Yeah, like 2004, I think.
Yeah, and you're talking 14-year-old Mac watching a good film.
Maybe it'll be a future recommendation.
Yeah, that would be probably a good one to check out.
A little bit of a revisit. I wouldn't mind talking about that one sometime.
Doesn't sound like Lauren would either. So
yeah,
it's funny because that one popped up, and I was like, oh, we got more. So I read that, and then I read her second one before I read Gideon's first. Mm-hmm. So I read that, and I was like, oh, nice. I guess like who else? And then I read Gideon's, and I was like, oh, that kind of just seems like, fair and to the point. And then I read Mikey's. I was like, oh, he's getting back at Gideon. Like, that's kind of funny. And then I scrolled up. I was like, who's the first one? And then I read Lauren's. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Like, shout out to my friends.
Hey,
you guys are great.
Appreciate you guys. I love that you guys get on there. But that was funny. I liked it. I'm gonna tell you right
I will
now.
say, at least they commented.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I don't get any, and I have to, like, repost the
few and far between. Hey,
thing.
I mean, anytime we get something to talk about, I love it.
We got one more response from Katie. She didn't really say why. She just said The Boy in the Striped Pajamas.
Yes, and I have not seen that. Is that Leonardo?
No, that is. He was a big child actor. He's not really big anymore. Asa Butterfield. He's the kid in Hugo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's got like really like bright blue eyes.
Yeah.
Pretty distinct look. He's like the child star of that movie. I couldn't tell you any of the adult actors because I only seen it once and it was years and years ago. Mm-hmm. I liked the movie. A very emotionally heavy film, I will say. Like it is very weighty, and that's all I'll say because you haven't seen it. So
from what I remember, I mean, it was kind of like a What's Eating Gilbert Grape vibe. You know, there's like something that's
there's a lot going on, and I wouldn't mind actually revisiting it because I've only seen it once, and I had such an emotional reaction to it. Like
you cried hard.
I didn't cry. I don't really cry at movies, but
really?
it's one of those movies.
You don't have to be tough on this.
Yeah, Lord knows I'm not. But it's one of those movies that stuck with me so long after I watched it for the first time.
Really?
Yeah. Like I still remember the feelings that I got from watching it. Like it's one of those types of films. So
okay.
I enjoyed it overall. I think it would help if I rewatched it to really gauge my feelings on it, but I remember it in a good light. So
yep.
There you go. And that's all the movies that we got comments on. Thank you guys for sharing your favorites. We appreciate it. We got one more bit of business before we wrap up.
Oh, that's right.
I get to make a film pick recommendation. Let me look up some info on this.
Now, remember, mine was all in good heart and spirit. This wasn't anything for us to be miserable about. All right?
I loved the discussion.
Yeah. I'm glad that you picked up. It's funny that there was two things that really, really annoyed us, and that we both
oh, yeah.
No, anyways.
So this film, I know we've already, our second episode, you recommended that we watch Michael Mann film, Manhunter. I think I want to revisit Michael Mann because I've been wanting to rewatch this and kind of wanting to discuss it on the podcast. And I know you've seen this film.
Okay, wait. What year?
2004.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait.
Is
there a gray wolf in it?
I want us to talk about Collateral.
Woo!
Directed by Michael Mann, starring Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx.
I'm actually excited to do this because I want to hear your thoughts on it.
I really want to talk about this film on the podcast, and I think it's time. And I think it's going to make for a good discussion because it's one of my favorite films. By far. It's on like my top 50 list. And there's a lot about this that I think we can like really dive into.
Oh, dude, this could be and I've not seen this one in 5-6 years.
Oh, really? Oh, so, okay. So it'll be like you'll probably get like another experience out of it then.
Well, I mean, I've seen this one. I saw this in theaters with my buddy, and like we all like walked away. And I was like, that was all right. It wasn't like great Tom Cruise. And then I think I got it for Christmas. Like my uncle, who gives us like movies every year for Christmas, or at least did for 12 years in a row.
Yeah.
Bought me this, and I remember we like threw it on, and I was like, man, I really like the soundtrack, and Tom Cruise is kind of a badass. Mm-hmm. And then I watched, like, I've seen this movie like 7 or 8 times.
Yeah.
I have a problem.
It's good. It's good.
It's a fantastic film. Like, this is yeah,
we'll get into it when we talk about it, but I just remember my dad watching it one day, and I was super interested in what he was watching. Like, and from then on, it just stuck with me. And when I watched the whole thing, it was great. So
I'm excited to hear it. I want to hear some of the writing, some of the things you picked up metaphorically.
And then along the same lines, I think it'd be interesting because I want to get your opinion on this movie that recently came out. Well, it's like a newer movie we can talk about.
Okay.
So I want to know what you think of The Gray Man that came out on Netflix.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
No, but I've only read the bad reviews, and like by bad I mean like a couple clips on like Twitter.
Yeah.
But it's really it does hurt me though, because it was like I've seen the trailer for it and I was like, ooh, Gosling, and it looks like Chris Evans has some charisma in this. And I
want to know what your thoughts are, because I'm dying to know like your opinion of this film. So
is this like a Speed 2 dying to know your opinion?
It's like you could go either way. I think you could go either way.
I really do. I think so too. I mean, but it makes me concerned though that they talk about how flat and dude. I mean, even like I'm telling like Jason Patric and Sandra Bullock and I mean even Defoe. you pick up on if characters are bad and written poorly.
Yeah.
Like that the Twitter thing that I saw, it really put it in my head that that's going to be it. So the trailer did not allude to that though. So I'm curious as to see how bad these guys mail it in, if they do or if they don't.
Yeah.
That's more of my intrigue with it.
I want to know your thoughts. Plus it's, it's an action film.
Yeah, the Gray Man. I mean, I was going to check this out anyways. This looks like an easy one that you can throw on and
yeah.
You might get bored after 2 hours. I don't know.
Go well with our talk of Collateral, I think. Kind of compare and contrast maybe. So.
Sure, yeah. Oh, well, then I know where that's going. I was hoping for a compare and compare.
Oh, yeah. That's never the case.
No. Boy, we even got Speed and Speed 2, man. That was.
Yeah. We're hitting them all. We're hitting them home runs.
There's not even a compare in that. Is there anything that you could say that was between both films that you could take away that would be like
that'd be the same, like that I got the same thing out of? No,
I don't either.
I honestly, it's funny that I say that, but I'm dead serious. Like I don't think I could say.
I mean,
the same thing about both films.
I watched one Friday, one Saturday. Mm-hmm. You watched it Wednesday and Friday or Wednesday and Thursday.
It was like Wednesday and Thursday.
Like literally, you couldn't be any closer in a timeline of being like, let's. Maybe besides if you clipped out 5 hours on, Saturday and be like, I'm going to watch back to back to really get a feel for that, here we go.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any whatsoever.
No.
Not even.
I really don't at all either. No comparing.
I think Jan de Bont wanted to hang out on a cruise ship for 6 weeks and just give me whatever budget I can take. Like he fucking wrecked Warner Bros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so
Anyways, thank you guys for listening. If you don't want to be spoiled for Collateral, directed by Michael Mann with Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx, be sure to watch that as well as The Gray Man, because we're going to be talking about that in episode 26. Thank you guys for listening. You can find us on our website, www.neoncrewpodcast.com. We're also on YouTube. We're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Yep.
And a little announcement, I guess, even though I already posted it. I'm going to start going through our older episodes and like just funny moments that I find pretty hilarious. And I'm going to start making like these clips that I'm going to post on YouTube.
Very funny. I got to see the rough cut of one. Well, actually, probably final cut.
That's the final cut.
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think that you guys will like them. I think if you guys appreciate anything around this, you hop onto YouTube and check it out. And it's gonna be I know 2.5 hours for some, not all. Piss off, but can be long. So funny cuts.
Yeah, they're only gonna be like couple minute long clips, and they're not gonna have like a set release. Like I'm just gonna make them and release them when I feel like. So, but I want it to be a pretty like consistent thing.
Yeah,
because they're fun to make, and I think that it's a good way to like kind of ease people into our longer discussions, maybe.
100%. I think that there's just, if you had some visuals with them, it's just, they're funny. Well, at least us. You guys can let us know or don't let us know.
Yeah. Check it out.
Tease us.
Our one from episode 1, our minute-long clip about Taco Bell is on YouTube. So
nice.
Let us know what you think of that. And, appreciate you guys listening. So, McClain, is there anything you would like to say?
Of course. Do.
Ba-da-da.
Do.
Ba-da-da. Bop.
Do.
Deedle-dee.
Boop, boop, boop.
Doodle-loop.
Do.
P-P-P.
Poo.
Poo-poo.
WTHD, everyone.
Bye.